It's Bow Time.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world, but one thing's for sure. You need a PC you can rely on. Whether it's for school, gaming, or whatever your next chapter holds, Lenovo.com has the tech to help you succeed. Shop PCs right now at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale, where students can save more when they sign up for a Lenovo Education account. Free shipping, easy returns, flexible financing. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Gray skies this afternoon. Cool temperatures, a high of only 78 degrees, well below normal. Expect some scattered light showers for the rest of the day. 67 tonight. Tomorrow, slightly different, a bit more cloud cover. We'll see a high of 80 degrees. It stays cool, but a chance of scattered storms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is down 52 points to 44,120.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Tuesday. What's going on, everybody? I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. We're one day closer to football. One day closer. One day closer to our numbers game live. August 21st. Where our perfect players, the players with perfect scores, will battle it up. Battle it out, I should say. Battle it up, battle it out, battle it whichever way they want towards numbers game supremacy. More details on that later in the show, because right now it is time for the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
It's Quarterback Tuesday, everybody. We're diving into the most important position in sports. It's Quarterback Tuesday, and we have a few different storylines going on pertaining to the quarterbacks that we cover. The college sports, obviously Bryce Young. Dennis, let's play a little bit of the audio, shall we? Max Johnson, quarterback from UNC, who is, I guess, still in the quarterback running to be the starting quarterback for North Carolina. They have not named a starter. He was the opening day starter last year before dealing with a very serious injury in week 1. I mean, on the road at Minnesota, ugly game. He stayed in Minnesota for a while because he had to have a whole bunch of surgeries, I should say. As he talked to the media during training camp, which is going on right now, he said he knew right away the injury was something bad.
Well, I kind of knew it was pretty serious as soon as it happened. I couldn't tell if it was my knee or my femur or my leg, and I remember getting up, and put my shoulders around, the trainers who were carrying me off the field. And as soon as I got picked up, my leg kind of like slipped out. Kind of felt it dangling, and right then and there, I knew it was my femur. And then I remember being in the hospital and, went through a couple surgeries, and it was tough, man. Laying there on the bed, not knowing what was going to happen, how long I was going to be, in the hospital, and I really just didn't know. There was a point in time where I thought I was going to lose my leg, and got blessed to be able to, continue to play football. And man, what an honor it is just to be back playing. So I mean, all the coaches believed in me, and I kind of believed in myself. And the Lord kind of put me in this position to glorify Him through, kind of what I'm doing. And man, what a journey it's been.
When he said I felt my leg dangling, that word right there is just like, ooh, that sends shivers up your spine. My leg dangling. From that to a year later in the running to perhaps, I mean, even if you think it's Gio Lopez's job to lose, just to be even in the mix to be starting at a school like North Carolina, just a year after, I felt my leg dangling. Not like, you're sitting on a stool and your feet don't reach the ground, so they're swinging. He was talking about, okay, we got to move on because I'm not good about talking about injuries. So let's jump to number 2.
Number 2.
The coaches poll came out yesterday. We referenced it at the end of the show, but didn't get a chance to fully dive in. The coaches voted for their preseason top 25. Dennis, I'm going to ask a question that's been asked every year since 2006. Is Texas back?
Is Texas back?
Texas is number 1 in the country in the coaches poll.
Clearly, I guess.
28 first-place votes. That is 8 more than Ohio State, the defending national champion.
That Arch Manning hype is real.
Is Texas back, folks? Can I have just a quick conversation on the Arch Manning real quick?
Okay.
Am I the only one that thinks it's way more likely than not he's not in next year's draft? I don't care if he plays great. What do Eli Manning and Peyton Manning have in common?
They stuck around.
They both could have been top draft picks. Maybe not number 1 for Eli, but for Peyton, they both came back and finished out their college career. And then what does Arch Manning do that nobody does in modern college football?
Make money?
Well, they all do that now.
I'll make a lot of money, I should say.
He had the patience. He sat for 2 years in college. You think he waited 2 years to play 1? Everyone's like, oh, tank for Arch. Oh, the Saints, because that's where Archie played. You think if he would be lured out of college, if he were the number 1 overall pick, obviously, which we've seen him play 2 games. But you think if he was like that dead set on following his grandpa's footsteps, do you know where he'd be? Ole Miss. He wouldn't be at Texas. I don't know. The Arch Manning stuff, I'm excited to watch him.
Man,
right?
but the hype is real for Texas, though.
Seriously. A fast Manning. I want to see it, but slow your roll a little bit. And obviously that's a lot of what Texas is built on right now. They're the number 1 team in the coaches poll. The top ACC team is Clemson at number 6. I think, and I said this yesterday, in every poll I look at, every ranking I look at now, there's like an invisible line after 12 teams. Because I feel like that's them saying these 12 should be in the college football playoff, even though you got to account for conference champions and things. So it's not even that hard and fast of a line. But looking at that, to me, Clemson and Miami of the ACC teams, 6 and 10, they're in control your own destiny territory, right? If you win all but 1 game and you start in the top 12, so you can go 11 and 1, you're pretty much in the CFP. If you start off in the 6 to 10, obviously above that range. Everybody else needs a little bit of help. Everybody else needs to go dragon slaying. They need to go get one of the big games on their roster, on their schedule. So that's everybody else in the ACC, even an SMU at 16.
By the way, Clemson got 2 first-place votes.
My guess is that's from somebody that tracks NFL draft boards.
Maybe.
Because they have, according to the powers that be right now, the analysts and experts, they have the most NFL talent on their roster. But let's be real. We've seen the team with the most NFL talent doesn't always win in college. Matter of fact, Quite often they don't. Or else there's like 4 teams that would win it every year. Although kind of there are 4 teams. There's not those. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is number 2 on the Big 3 at 3. Let's hit number 3.
Number 3.
The Panthers, Carolina Panthers, have a knockdown, drag out, down to the wire position battle going on. At center. I thought it was interesting. ESPN put out an article of the top position battles in every team's camp. All 32 NFL teams, what's the biggest position battle? And they put center, offensive center for the Panthers. And one of the reasons that stood out to me is because I think there's maybe 4 more interesting ones on defense. But the offense really has everything settled except for center and maybe some injury questions, but that's not really position battle. That's more can they be ready for. But it's between Austin Corbett, 29-year-old veteran, and Cade Mays, 26-year-old, much younger player in NFL terms, like in NFL experience. But Cade Mays played the second half of last year and played well at times. I vividly remember, was it his first start in Germany?
Yes.
He went up against Dexter Lawrence on the interior defensive line for obviously a guy from around here in the Triangle, but plays big money interior defensive line for the Giants. And it was on a morning game, and I went into that with, you got a new center, new interior offensive lineman going up against Dexter Lawrence, fresh meat. And he did a very good job.
Well, I also wonder in that game as well because, remember, he was released by the Panthers last year and was on the practice squad for the Giants. Cade Mays was.
You're right.
And then because of injuries, they brought him back from the practice squad off the Giants. So sure enough, he's like, okay, I know how to block this guy. I had to do it every day in practice on the practice squad against this guy.
That you're exactly right. I forgot that element of the story. But either way, he played well that game and up in, I would say more ups than downs, but up and down the rest of the season. It's an interesting one, right? And I think it's appropriate that on Quarterback Tuesday, right, a day we brand to talk about the quarterbacks, we're also going to sneak in a few conversations about a center position battle because, right, that relationship is important, right? That not only is it like physically, right? You get to know the nether regions of your center pretty darn well if you are a quarterback. It's just one of those things that happens. What are you gonna do? It's the nature of the position. Can't go shotgun all the time. But not only is it like physically a close position, but also oftentimes the center and the quarterback are the ones that are making all of the distinctions in protections, right? When you see the quarterback run up and point to somebody in the defense and identify the mic or identify a potential blitzer, a lot of the times he's talking directly to the center who will then translate that for the offensive line. So the center is an important deal. The good news is you're probably comfortable with both, right? The good news is you have depth. Because the other thing that especially we learned last year on the offensive line for the Panthers, you're probably going to need them both at some point, especially if they're both versatile enough to play guard if somebody goes down. Offensive line is a especially interior offensive line, is a car crash every single play. At some point, somebody's going to need some time away. Somebody's going to have to nurse a boo-boo, and they'll have at least somebody that had a bunch of reps with the first team during training camp ready to roll because Corbett and Mays right now are going one day rotation with the starting offense. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought it was going to be Corbett's job and Mays was being brought back as depth, but if the young guy is making it a tough decision, I think that's good at a position like center. That's the Big 3 at 3 here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. I mentioned it's a Quarterback Tuesday. One of the quarterbacks, one of them in the Triangle, and if you're watching on YouTube, there's a hint. It's right over my shoulder. One of the quarterbacks was chosen as one of the 40 most important players in college football by ESPN. I'll tell you who coming up next.
When it comes to restoring cars, Diego's got skills. And with Total Wireless in his corner, the whole world sees them. With the dual camera system on his new iPhone 13, he can take amazing car photos and post them on the fly with super fast 5G and even turn this hobby into a full-time gig. His claim to fame? Claiming iPhone 13 with 5G on us. Get iPhone 13 with 5G on us when you switch to the Total 5G or 5G Plus Unlimited 3-month plan. Total wireless in your corner. For limited time while supplies last. Valid in store. Device taxes and fees may apply. Requires port in and ID verification. Restrictions apply.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Is going to your local bar the worst part of your day? The bartender ignores you, mediocre food, warm beer? Then why go there? Take 5 minutes and drop in at Sharky's, where they'll give you a free evaluation, and you can learn about all the bars that you shouldn't go to. Sharky's has helped thousands find the right bar to hang at. What are you waiting for? Sharky's evaluation could be the cure to the worst part of your day. Change your bar, change your life. Sharky's, 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Duke football? Hell yes, it's Duke football.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, on a QB Tuesday, where we make sure we are up to date on the latest at the most important position in football. We take our crosshairs and we put them squarely, our spotlight directly on one of the 40 most important college football players in the country. Darian Mensah, quarterback at Duke. ESPN, 40 top most important college football players includes Darian Mensah. He is the headliner. He is the focal point of this team, and the weight of the world is on his shoulders. Just call him Atlas. And it's to me, one of the bigger questions for Duke is he ready for that? That kind of pressure is one of those things that everybody says they want. Everybody says, I thrive in the big moments, but you're not sure until that weight is sitting there on your chest and you got to decide whether you can breathe or not. Everything we've heard about Darian Mensah has been overwhelmingly positive from Duke. We'll play some of the audio for you in a second. Everything we've interacted with Darian Mensah. He's been interviewed exclusively on this network. We talked to him at ACC Kickoff. It's been overwhelmingly positive. Right answers, correct answers, doing the right thing, carrying himself like a pro. Trey Freeman, one of the best defensive players on Duke, one of the more accomplished linebackers in the ACC, spoke to the media during after their first practice last week at training camp, and he gave us his thoughts of seeing Mensah in practice.
I think Mensah's great. You know, he's real savvy back there. He got a good feel for the pocket and stuff. So I think Mensah's going to help us tremendously, and I think he's handling himself pretty good.
That's Trey Freeman from the defense. Let's hear from the offense. Justin Pickett says Mensah, he's an offensive lineman for Duke, says Mensah has taken over as a leader immediately.
It's great. It's a great opportunity. It's super easy. A lot of people think normally guys come in and struggle, but he rolled right in, fit right in. He's a great guy. He's an incredible leader. He pushes me. He pushes the offense. He pushes the coaches. So it's an awesome experience.
The Athletic drafted players. They did a little. They got all their college football writers together, and they did a thought exercise where they drafted Heisman potential winners, right? And they have a little point system. How many votes did they get at the end of the year? It's like fantasy football, but just for Heisman. Darian Mensah was chosen as a potential. Was some national writer out there thought he was worth picking in a Heisman draft?
Well, let's be honest. If Duke makes a push for an ACC championship game and even in the college football playoff, well, yeah, it's probably going to be a lot of votes for Darian Mensah.
And it's part of it is because, and we've talked about Duke as a whole extensively because, we're getting ready for football season, is because he seems like the make or break for Duke right now. Right? We really like their secondary. You know who else does? Darn near everybody. They have multiple players on the best defensive back of the year watch list, multiple players on the All-ACC team. We really like their offensive line. At least I do. You know who else does? Whole bunch of people. Brian Parker's a preseason All-American. Justin Pickett's another guy with a lot of experience. Right? They have a certain connection already to guys that have played well. Trey Freeman, right? Linebackers. They've got some dudes. The coaching staff, Manny Diaz is known for his defensive prowess. There are certain things that you are kind of comfortable expecting good, right? You're comfortable expecting production. And then there's Darian Mensah. And it feels like to me, if Darian Mensah plays great, Duke will have a great season. If he plays good, they'll have a good season. And you get where it goes down from there, right? As he goes, the team goes, and that is so much pressure. Especially when you think of where the standard is now for Duke. More audio from Justin Pickett, their offensive lineman, on the standard being raised for the Blue Devils.
9-4 is the bar now. Like, we don't want anything less than that, and we're going to push to excel, and we want to be in that college football playoff, and we want to be in Charlotte for the ACC championship. That's our goal, and we're not wavering from that.
Think about how different that's been for the last two guys. Riley Leonard, you win 9 games, storm the field. Let's go nuts. Malik Murphy takes over, new coach, everybody kind of readjusting their expectations. He wins 9 games. Whoa! Now you have Mensah coming in. That's the new standard. We're trying to win the college football playoff. A little bit more pressure.
A little bit
more pressure. And I did a little digging this afternoon. I went back and looked up what the last 18 months have been like for Darian Mensah. He's a class of 2023 recruit where he was, according to 247 composite rankings, where they take the rankings from all the sites and kind of average them out, 135th ranked quarterback in the country. Not player, 135th ranked quarterback.
Okay.
He had 2 offers. 2 scholarship offers, according to 247 Sports coming out of high school. Tulane, which is where he ended up going, and Idaho. Now, you may say, oh, well, Tulane just got this diamond in the rough, and everybody. He showed up. They didn't play him at all his freshman year. He redshirted, not redshirt because he played 4 games and they were able to preserve it. No, he did not play. So 18 months ago, right, year and a half, he was a super unheralded recruit who had sat the bench for Tulane for a year and was battling to become the starter the following year. That's where he was. Fast forward a year and a half. He has a rising program that has made a significant financial investment in him, right? The NIL reports are between $3 and $4 million a year for Mensah. He's one of the 40 most important players in college football, according to ESPN, and The Athletic thought highly enough of him to draft him in a Heisman draft. And on top of that, you could argue with the step up in competition from Group of 5 to Power Conference, will also come a raising in volume because the stat that is often ranked with or referenced, I should say, with Darian Mensah and why everyone's optimistic about him is last year he was wildly efficient. He was 6th in the country in passing efficiency ranking. 6th. And the dudes above him were dudes. Jackson Dart, first-round pick. Will Howard, national champion. Cade Klubnik, projected first-round pick. Like dudes. But there's this other thing that stood out to me. He's 6th. The 5 guys above him, Shedeur Sanders was above him. The 5 guys above him averaged 31 attempts per game. He averaged 22. So he is likely, if he's going to make good on all of these lofty expectations and tremendous amount of pressure, is going to have to jump in his second year as a starter, just 18 months away from or removed from being a relative unknown. He is going to have to jump up in conference to a more difficult conference. He is going to have to jump up in pressure, right? Because Tulane, you put together a solid season, people get excited. Now Duke is saying, their own players are saying, 9 wins is the bar. So you get a jump in expectations, and you probably have to do it on higher volume, which is a challenge in and of itself, right? I kind of talk about maybe I should use passing efficiency rating like I do 3-point percentage, where it's like if you're shooting higher than 42%, you're not shooting enough. If you're shooting like 48%, shoot more until that bad boy drops to 42. Maybe there should be like a 160 or something in passing efficiency rating. And if you're too far above that, you're not throwing it enough, right? Push it downfield, take more chances, higher volume. But really, that's kind of getting into the X's and O's of football. You can watch the film, and I've watched a few of his games from Tulane. You can watch the film and recognize physically the dude can do it all, right? He has the arm, everything you need in college football, he can make happen. You can also look at it and simply say he has the processing power, right? He can make quick decisions. He can recognize. He can diagnose. To me, the biggest variable for Darian Mensah, which also becomes the biggest variable for Duke because he seems like the fulcrum, the pivot point that's going to decide whether their season is top-notch or not, becomes how does he perform with the weight of the world on his shoulders? There is something freeing about being the unknown that nobody's depending on, right? When he's at Tulane, he plays well. It's everything is gravy, right? Nobody was expecting anything out of the 135th ranked quarterback with 2 offers, right? He puts together a solid game. Everybody's jacked up. You put together a solid game at Duke and you lose. You put together a solid game and you win by a little. Nobody is throwing a parade. The expectations, the pressure are ratcheted up. And pressure is one of those things that's really, really hard to simulate. It's why coaches do things like I actually just saw the which team was it? Oh, it was the Giants, the New York Giants. At the end of practice, they gave I think they have 4 quarterbacks in camp. They gave all 4 quarterbacks a throw from the 15-yard line to hit the crossbar.
Okay.
They said if one does it, no conditioning after practice. If 2 hit the crossbar, no conditioning and no meetings after practice. If 3 does it, it was like no conditioning, no meetings after practice, and like no early wake up the next morning, whatever it was. Coaches don't have to do that sort of thing, but I think it's good to try to simulate like everybody will be jacked up if you do it, and everybody's going to be really mad if you don't.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy that misses.
Guess who was the only quarterback that hit the crossbar?
Flacco.
No, it was the Giants.
Oh, Giants.
Not the Browns.
Oh, Russell.
It was Jameis Winston, everybody.
Jameis, of course.
Nobody else hit it. So they didn't have conditioning after, but they did have to go to meetings. Because Jameis doesn't feel pressure, baby. Jameis lets it fly. Kind of does, right? He kind of does.
Well, I mean, back with Mensah, you and I saw it and noticed it at ACC Media Days a couple weeks ago. There's a level of charisma and presence around Darian Mensah that you kind of felt like commanded attention, commanded 100%. The room a little bit just by walking in, not by any sort of flash or anything. Just he walked in the room and it was like, okay, something different about this guy.
Didn't feel like that moment especially was too big for him.
Not at all.
Also didn't feel like he was over giddy about it, because I think that could happen too, right?
Sure.
If you go that quickly from unknown to walking into ACC Media Day, you could think you're too cool for school. Didn't catch that. But I think there is like a pass-fail element of it when you get to the biggest games, right? When you're ranked 5th or when you're ranked 13th and you're playing the 7th ranked, you walk out there and it's either, whoa, I can't see straight, or it's, surprisingly, I'm doing okay here. Or maybe the first time you get hit, it's like, oh, thank goodness, now I'm doing okay here. There's a few different ways to get there, but I think it all, maybe not all, a lot of their season hangs on Mensah. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the Dean's List coming up next. Who gets a little extra love in the college sports world? Stick around.
Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
JTV Jewelry Television knows you love to sparkle, so now's your time to shine like the star you are. Enter JTV's Shine Like a Star sweepstakes for your chance to win $5,000 in dazzling jewelry from top brands, including Rachel Zoe Jewelry and Judith Ripka Jewelry. Plus, just for entering, get $30 off your next qualifying JTV purchase of $99 or more when you opt in for emails. Enter now at jtv.com/likeastar. And remember, if you love jewelry, you'll love JTV.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Two running back set. Bailey keeps. Bailey dives to the end zone. Touchdown! NC State, and now the fireworks go off on time.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to pass out a few extra accolades, a little extra praise, a few extra rounds of applause for some people directly and or indirectly related to the college sports or academic sports world. And with that, let's put class in session for the Dean's List. Dennis, let's see if you can find what all these players have in common.
Okay.
Davion Goss, Jaquez Moore.
Okay.
Hollywood Smothers.
Okay.
Damon Claiborne.
They're all running backs.
They are, and they are all named to the Doak Walker Award watch list, and they are all running backs from the college teams in the state of North Carolina.
Doak Walker Award being?
Best running back in the country.
Yep.
Best running back in the country. So with Hollywood Smothers, NC State, Jaquez Moore, Duke, Goss from UNC, Claiborne from Wake. I mean, we have Quarterback Tuesday going on. Are the quarterbacks just vessels to get the ball to the running back?
Sometimes you got to be that.
They're just the middlemen. I'm going to get it from the center to this running back because apparently there's a whole bunch of studs in the backfield alongside the quarterbacks in the state of North Carolina in the ACC. Also, and I'm having a hard time. I looked like more than I probably should have for this next watch list, but I'm having a hard time finding the entire watch list. But what does Curtis Cooper and Spencer Triplett, can you name what's going on with those two individuals?
Couldn't tell you.
They are both long snappers.
Okay.
And they have been named to the Patrick Manley Award watch list, which goes to the best long snapper in the country, with Cooper being from Duke and Triplett being from UNC. Now, there may be more with local connections on that list. I can't find the entire list, which is kind of messed up.
I just didn't realize there was even a list for that.
Well,
let's be honest.
You got honors, especially.
Oh no, trust me, I do. As someone who also was a snapper as well, I respect the specialist, but I didn't realize this was a thing.
As somebody that may or may not have been benched from being quarterback at one point, but remained as the holder, and the coach tried to soothe my anger by saying special team starters are still starters. I was like, it's not. No, you can't say that to me right now. Holder is not the same. But as that, I do think I would have been on a watch list for Holder of the Year. I don't think they have that one. Would be going into like year 11 of the NFL if they just had slots on the roster for holders. But they don't. Do you have a Dean's List you'd like to throw out there?
I mean, I can't top long snappers. Sorry.
All right. How about Hubert Davis and Bill Belichick?
Okay.
Now, maybe I missed one along the way. I saw the first picture of them hanging out. Hubert Davis looked like he was at training camp. So Hubert Davis and Bill Belichick were next to each other. Picture put out there by the social media team with the caption, "Talking Ball." That is a unique win-win photo op. I kind of think that both of them can help each other out in kind of this way. I think Hubert wants that, like, win the big game reputation of Bill Belichick to kind of rub off on Hubert, and Bill Belichick, who's trying to build the football brand of UNC into the same realm as the basketball brand of UNC, probably wants that kind of big brand UNC, Jordan Tar Heel stuff to rub off on the football program. I think they should like co-host a podcast or something. I think those guys need to help each other out a bit and show that it's together rather than what I think is going to happen by revenue share, where teams can pay, whatever, 20-something million to all of their athletes, but there is a cap. I think there's going to be a lot of infighting team to team on college campuses where coaches are saying, don't give the money to them, give the money to us. But if you can show that Hubert Davis and Belichick are bros, I think that's a good spot for both programs, which win-win is the type of relationship you're looking for.
Apparently that's already been happening with the revenue sharing, the reports and rumors floating around of college coaches arguing back and forth about, no, I need this, or I should
deserve this. They don't even
win.
Why are they getting that much money?
Exactly. A lot of that going on.
I've won 2 conference championships. Yeah, I've heard the rumors, I'm sure similar to the ones you've heard.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't do this yesterday, so I'll do this real quickly here. Dean's List, Duke football gets the mention. They were the only team that we cover, Triangle College football, to receive any votes in the coaches poll top 25. They were in the also receiving votes category. I believe they received 12. But that is 12 more than UNC and NC State. So they get a little nod on the Dean's List here for just having anybody in the coaches poll think highly enough of them to throw their name down on a list. And finally, this isn't, it's related to college football, but really it goes down to the high school level. Dean's List goes to Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay.
Teddy Bridgewater, former Panthers quarterback, former Louisville quarterback. He's signing with the Bucs. Okay, he went to meet with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They need some depth, veteran in the room. He passed his physical today. He's expected to sign. We covered this a couple of weeks ago. Teddy Bridgewater retired from the NFL to become the head coach at Miami Northwestern High School. That's his high school. That's where he went. They won the state championship his first year as head coach. And then once they won the state championship, he left and went and finished out the year on the in the quarterback room, being signed to the Detroit Lions for the playoff run. It's crazy. This offseason, he was suspended, and some say banned, from being the head coach at Miami Northwestern because it was discovered, by him saying it on Facebook, that he was supplying his team with transportation to and from practice in apparently a bad part of town. He was paying for Ubers for kids to get home. He was supplying meals. He was paying for gear so they could wear team gear around practice. He had the audacity as a head coach to care about and put his own money up to help the kids he was coaching.
Yes, how dare we help feed kids and make sure they get home safe?
And there were other things. He paid for like a recovery truck to come by after hot practices, ice baths and stuff. And apparently all that's against the rules in high school in Florida. So they're worried about fines. They suspend him. And basically he's not going to be the coach this upcoming year. So he hit him with kind of the most baller response of all time. Fine. If you won't let me do everything I want to help these kids, I'll go play in the NFL. And he went and signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Which, by the way, he said he's still going to continue to financially support the team and the high school that helped him get everything he's gotten. And apparently that's legal. If he is just an NFL player from Tampa, he can give all the money he wants for players' money or players' food and transportation and everything else. He just can't do it as the coach. So he's like, fine, I'll go play in the NFL. Imagine if everybody, like, if your boss is giving you a hard time, we're going to have to dock your hours a little bit here. You haven't been following the rules. Fine. I'll go play in the NFL. What a fallback plan.
Like, fine, have it your way.
I've got options, I'll
just go make $1 million over here.
I'll go back up Baker. How's that taste? Shout out to Teddy Bridgewater, man. Seems like one of the good ones.
You got to think of this as well. If they didn't win a state championship, do you think this ever would have been a thing?
I guess the only way it was discovered was he actually, because he'd been spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars of his own money.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he put on Facebook like, "Hey, like I'm happy to continue to support and all that, but if you have some cash you can kick in, so I don't have to cover it all myself. I'm doing these things for the players. You can GoFundMe or whatever they set up." Well, guess what? That Facebook post tipped off the authorities. Did you have any fundraisers when you were in high school?
Oh, yeah. One of the things that we did was a lot of local businesses would come in. We used to sell these cards,
coupon
like discount
cards.
coupon
That's
cards.
exactly what we had.
Yeah, they basically look like credit cards, but they just had a bunch of different businesses on there. So we would sell them to people, would go to door to door. So then, you bring that card to that local business and they get a discount or whatever it was. So that's basically what it was. We had those coupon cards that we'd sell.
That's exactly
that was
what
our
we did.
biggest thing.
It's actually kind of similar to the Teddy thing, on a 1/1,000,000th of the scale. So I was doing the thing, right? We wanted alternate jerseys. We wanted black jerseys because we thought we were like the Ravens or the Panthers or something. So we were fundraising. We're selling coupon cards, just like what you said, right? You buy the coupon card. There's 40 businesses in there. You can get $10 off your meal or whatever. I was going door to door. We had a massive neighborhood, so many houses. I'm going door to door on like a Saturday afternoon, raking, right? One guy knock on the door, and I say, give the whole spiel, right? Like, we're just local kids. We're trying to blah, 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 blah. And he kind of got mad at me. And he said, like, I'm on a fixed income. I can't afford this. The audacity of you to come up here and ask me, make me feel bad for not. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Abort, abort.
Okay, simple no would have worked just fine.
I left like 2 or 3 houses later. Whoop, whoop. Police officer pulls up. We got some complaints. You're not allowed to solicit door to door in the neighborhood. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm a kid I'm not like a traveling salesperson here. They're like, no, we can't. If we catch you again, we'll have to blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fine. So I just go home all mad. And that to me was like, does anyone have any common sense around here? I'm not out trying to, sell solar or something, like knocking on your door trying to swindle you into something. Anyway.
Now you need a new roof.
Second story from the coupon cards, and this one's better, and I'll make it quick. Me and my buddy, my fullback, I think it was his uncle or his grandpa or something, ran the Pop Warner in the area. So he's like, dude, I'm new to the area, just transferred in. He's like, I clean up on the coupon cards every year. We go to the Pop Warner fields, and at practice, we just walk to all the parents, All these parents are super jacked up on football, right? Their kids are just getting into it. The high schoolers, right? You give a high five to their kid, and then they'll putty out of your hand. So I'm like, all right, cool. We go there. We talk to the kids, give them a speech or whatever. Then we walk over to the parents, start selling these cards. We sell a bunch, just a ton. And each card was $20. Real smooth, right? Just $20 bill. I give you the card, you give me $20.
Yeah, ours was something like that, 10, 20.
Yeah. So then we're leaving, and we're driving through what would be considered, it wasn't bad, but what would be considered a bad part of town. And this was a part in hip-hop music where there was a lot of making it rain. That was a thing that happened a lot. He's driving, I'm in the passenger seat, and we just got a stack of 20s. So you know what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to throw it in the air. I'm making it rain in the passenger seat. And he also has a subsystem in his trunk, playing quite loud. As we were hyped up, just made a bunch of money for our team. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Cop pulls us over. As they pull up, I am, as quickly as I can, picking up a ton of 20s off the ground. And they're like, we're going to need both of you guys to step out of the car. He goes to the front of the car. They bring me back to the backside of the cop's car. And they just ask us a billion questions. Very obviously, just seeing if our stories line up. And the specificity of our stories of, well, we're selling this, we're selling this, we're selling this, $20, here it is. This song was on the radio. Like, everything lines up. So they're like, all right, we're going to let you go. And as we're walking up, I see my friend kind of like in deeper conversation with the cop he was talking to. And he gets back in the car and he goes, I sold them 4.
Nice.
I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, each of those cops just bought one. That's four more. We just got $80 more. I was like, that's how you finish. I was terrified. That's how you finish. And that is the Dean's List here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Before we get back to Quarterback Tuesday, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to tell you.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I will say it was very short-lived being able to get out on the motorcycle and enjoy a ride because of the bad weather that we have had so much recently. And then today, obviously, there's the rain in the morning. And I actually had a coworker of ours actually down the hall ask me the other day, why do you know what the weather is going to be like? It seems like 7 days ahead of time. I said, well, I'm constantly checking because I want to make sure if I can ride my motorcycle, I want to be able to do it. So always be mindful when you're out there before you actually get out on the road. Check the weather conditions. But if you do get caught in a storm, because we all know here in the state of North Carolina, those thunderstorms can just come out of nowhere. When you're riding around town, know where the quick exit is where you can get to a safe spot, whether it's into a parking garage or underneath an overpass, wherever you can do to make sure you are safe and get out of the elements. Sometimes, though, you can't avoid accidents, and unfortunately they do happen. This is where Law Tigers comes in. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, even before you call your insurance company, because Law Tigers, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They know the dangers of being out there on the bike. They know what your bike and gear are worth, but most importantly, they understand what it's like to go through after an accident. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Quarterback Tuesday continues as we take a look at who could be UNC starter next.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me a Dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
Is your heating and air system handling the hot weather okay? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're gonna buy that soap. It's just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Tario's going to reverse it and now flip it back to Harrell. He's going to try a deep ball. Wide open, waiting for it, and making the catch at the 9 is Hamilton, and he'll ride a Charlotte defender in for the touchdown.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is Quarterback Tuesday here on The Drive, focusing in on the most important position in football. Before we talk about who could be the starter for UNC, just a quick quarterback update for a guy that used to play quarterback here in the Triangle. The Colts and their head coach, Shane Steichen, have said that Anthony Richardson will start Indianapolis's first preseason game on Thursday versus the Ravens. But Daniel Jones, former Duke quarterback, will start their second preseason game versus the Packers. So it appears as if that's not just a quarterback battle in name. That seems to be a real one between the veteran Daniel Jones and the younger, more physically imposing Anthony Richardson. So there's a little update there. Similarly, I'm still trying to decide at North Carolina whether it is a legit quarterback battle or whether it is not legit, meaning they know who their starter is going to be and they just feel like toying with the media and the public and thinking they're going to get a huge advantage. Because I've been talking, I shouldn't bring everybody in. I've been talking about North Carolina as if Gio Lopez is the starter. Right? There's some NIL reports out there on how much money he was paid to transfer from South Alabama to UNC that make me think, oh, yeah, they're not giving that to somebody they're not playing. There's also the small elements of, like, they chose to bring him to ACC kickoff. And I think coaches don't bring guys that they don't plan on playing that often. Yet here we are, August 5th. Camp has opened. They practiced over the weekend, and still they haven't named a starter. So, in the interest of covering all of our bases, let's talk about the options, shall we? Gio Lopez, I'm calling him the favorite. I'm giving each like a nickname so we can identify him. Gio Lopez, the favorite. Bryce Baker, the freshman. And Max Johnson, the old man, I guess would be the way to differentiate. Max Johnson, the old man, also coming off an injury, but does have easily the most experience playing high-level football or high-level conference football in college. Now, I will start with this, and we talked about it yesterday, so I'll make it quick. I don't think you get a massive advantage from keeping it a secret, right? I think that's a little disrespectful to TCU's defensive coaching staff to be like, oh, no. If you play Gio Lopez, I don't know how we would be able to transition our defensive game plan to Max Johnson or Bryce Baker. I think it's if there is an advantage, it's a small one. Next, the reason why I advocate so often for just naming your starter as soon as you know and not playing these games is I almost think it's like getting the vetting process done, right? Give people enough time to ask all the questions, have all the conversations, and let it stop being a distraction. And then the other thing about it is there is a loose lips, sink ships kind of nature of a college team, right? If every single player on the team sees Gio Lopez taking every single first-team rep in practice, you expect them to keep the secret if it hasn't been announced publicly. And I get that, right? I completely understand that you should be able to trust the people in your locker room, but also, where do you draw the line? Can they tell their parents? Can a wide receiver go, Gio's going to be the starter? And then what if that parent is at a happy hour, gets a little loose and wants to feel like a big timer and go, who's going to start at UNC? Where do you draw the line on that? And then do you have players thinking of that? It's just that it's a distraction trying to eliminate distractions almost. Don't act like keeping secrets can consume you. Has anybody ever been on the inside of like a surprise party? It's not always fun. Like the 2 days before the surprise party, especially if you have to interact with the person who's going to have the party, right? The person you can't tell. Like, it's not always fun to have to keep secrets, and it sometimes consumes your mind a little bit more than it should. And I said this yesterday, it's the trap door, it's the escape route. If you really don't know, then yeah, you got to let it play out, right? If the coaching staff really doesn't know who's going to be starting week 1, they have no idea, then yeah, you got to let it play out. You got to wait and see. But then it's we have a whole other conversation on nobody's grabbing the job. Like nobody, it's cliche, and I don't always believe it. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. If you have 3 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. It's not always that simple, but it's fairly rare to have 3 quarterbacks that are within, a hair of difference in ability and execution, right? It's pretty rare to have guys that are that similar in quality at this point. Even if they bring different things, it's like usually one guy's, 15% better, another guy, 30% worse, whatever. Like it's very rare to be neck and neck in a quarterback battle. And if you want to say something like, well, Bryce Baker is a big dude and he's more physically gifted, but he's so far behind in understanding the offense, whatever, because he's a freshman, you can work in running packages for those types of players. You can work in ways to get them on the field. But then I still think it's important to flood your starter with confidence. Max Johnson, one of the guys we mentioned, the old man, was asked about the quarterback battle that he was in, and he basically said he understands it's a battle.
I've talked with Coach Belichick, Coach Kitchens, that, the best man's going to play, and, if, whoever that is, I know Coach Belichick's going to make that, make the best decision. And, I'm just blessed to be here, be able to compete. It just feels good to be able to do it again.
I do think Max Johnson is being honest in, it's nice just to be considered after where his knee injury, leg injury was a season ago.
It's less than a year ago, I thought maybe I couldn't walk again. I might lose a leg, and the fact that I'm still playing football, I'm just grateful.
Yeah, he just likes to be out there at practice, and I get that, but he also likely wants to start as well. Johnson was asked about how he and Gio Lopez feed off of each other, how they interact, which can sometimes be a bit awkward during a quarterback competition.
It's been really good just to kind of build that relationship with him. He had a pretty good season last year at South Alabama, so kind of being able to kind of pick each other's minds. I've been, some other schools and have played a bunch of football, so being able to kind of, learn from each other and pick up on things that we may have not known before is pretty special.
Pretty special. I'm not sure if I always believe that sort of thing, but that's what you're going to say publicly. Oh, we're a really close room. You might not be talking to each other in real life. Who knows? But I do think the earlier you name the starter, the better. And hopefully now you know a little bit more about the contestants in that battle. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, moves on to the professional edition of Quarterback Tuesday, or at least the professional edition of preseason. What can we learn from the Panthers this preseason? They start on Friday. Stick around.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending and Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, that'd be great? Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a two-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 2502146.
New to the area? Let me be the first to welcome you. I'm Marcy Bailey of Bailey's Fine Jewelry. We've been family-owned and part of North Carolina since 1948. We have a tradition of being voted the best jewelry store with an unparalleled selection of designer jewelry, fine diamonds, engagement rings, watches, and gifts to commemorate all your special occasions. We look forward to sharing our award-winning service and stunning jewels with you. Visit us today in-store or at baileybox.com to see why every woman wants a Bailey box.
Looking for a big new game to play? Well, there's no game bigger than the new dino-sized Jurassic Park scratch-off from the North Carolina Education Lottery, which gives you a chance to win up to $200,000 instantly. And if that weren't enough, you can enter for a chance to win an exciting trip to beautiful Hawaii, where you could win up to $1 million. Welcome to Jurassic Park. Adventure awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.28. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Mainly cloudy skies for the rest of the day today. It's cool out there. A high this afternoon of only 78 degrees, well below normal. Expect some patchy light rain on and off for the rest of the day. 67 overnight tonight with cloudy skies, and tomorrow mostly cloudy with a high of 80 and a chance of afternoon storms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones today down 73 points to 44,100. Market update brought to you by Bolton Construction Services. Bolton is actively hiring experienced HVAC techs with a $2,500 sign-on bonus. As a family-owned leader in HVAC, Bolton puts people first. Don't miss out. Apply now at boltonservice.com. Again, boltonservice.com.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The Carolina Panthers start their training camp, start their preseason. They've already started training camp. Start their preseason game schedule on Friday against the Browns. And there is a cavalcade. A cavalry might be the better term.
Okay.
Of people around football at this time of year that want to just scream in your face, the preseason doesn't matter. As if they know something that we all don't. We're like, we know. Relax. We're going to watch anyway. Right? We know going 4-0 in the preseason doesn't mean you're going to win the Super Bowl, just like we know going 0-4 doesn't mean you're going to be the worst. We know that some teams take it more seriously than others. We know. You don't got to yell at us. We know. We're still going to watch. And we might not be watching for big, grandiose realizations. Oh, this player has taken a giant leap based on what I have seen in the preseason. No. But there's little things you can grab. There's little things you can notice. There's little things that can pay dividends. I mean, not the least of which could be discovering kind of unforeseen talent. I remember watching Victor Cruz announce himself in the preseason for the Giants. If you haven't seen there's like a 8-minute breakdown that gets passed around on YouTube of Victor Cruz's like his coming out party for the Giants. Caught 3 touchdowns. I believe it was against the Cowboys. Maybe not the Cowboys. I know it was Bill Parcells. Not Bill Parcells. Sorry, it was against the Jets because it was Rex Ryan, not Bill Parcells. And Rex Ryan mic'd up after the game. Is like, I don't know who number 3 is, but that kid can play. Because number 3 was Victor Cruz. One-handed touchdown catch, long touchdown catch, and then a couple years later, he's a 1,400-yard guy. So you might have that happen. So what are we looking for from the Carolina Panthers? What can you actually take away from the Carolina Panthers? Well, first of all, we're going to see the starters more than we saw last year. Last year, there was essentially one drive for the starting offense. This year, more than that, they're going to play in the first preseason game and the second preseason game. Dave Canales has passed that along. Austin Corbett, who's one of the two competing to be the starting center, spoke to the media, and he gave his thoughts on Dave Canales deciding to play the starters more in preseason games.
His adjustment on the fly, right? You go from the first year learning from that to, okay, how can we kind of improve to be able to hit the ground running earlier in the season? And I think that's his mentality right now of like, hey, we need to lock in to find our processes. How are we going to get ready? What's your process going to be? How are you going to handle the in-game situation? And that way when week 1 rolls around in Jacksonville, we're ready to go.
Starters are going to play. What do you want to see? I'll tell you what I want to see. I want to see physical dominance. Okay, because I understand in the preseason, I know there's a term that people that have been fans of Carolina for at least a few years now don't like, keeping it vanilla. They don't like that. Keeping it bland, they don't like that either. But there is a justification in the preseason of not showing much of your scheme, not showing much of your playbook, right? You want to keep it vanilla. You don't want to tip anybody off unless you're doing the overthinking thing of like showing a play now that you're going to run the counter off of in week 1 so they watch it on film. But I don't even think opposing teams are really watching much of preseason because they expect you to be hiding and they expect you to be, laying traps just like that. So they're like, we're not even going to study it.
It's a lot easier for me to pick up on individual tendencies than the actual scheme.
And part of the way I think about it is you can hide playbook, you can hide scheme, but you can't hide speed and power.
Yeah.
Right?
How do you release off the line?
If I tell you to run straight, you're not going to run 80% in a preseason game because you're like, I don't want to show them how fast I am. You're going to go run the route. So I don't care if it is a simple play. I don't care if it is a simple run. I don't care if it is, generic halfback dive. I want the offensive line to explode off the ball and move bodies. I don't care if it is a very simple, one-on-one beating route. I want this year's team for Carolina to show a certain level of physical talent. Because one of the things about the last few years with the Carolina Panthers, when they've been bad, right? And remember, you're only a season away. There's last year, the year before that, you were the worst team in the NFL. You had the number 1 overall pick. You didn't own it, but you had it, right? There were certain things that I was watching, and I was just going, oh, there's nothing they can do about that, right? What do you want me to do, right? You're not good enough, for lack of a better term. The other team was bigger, faster, stronger, and you could be in the right position, you could be using the right technique, and the roster wasn't put together in a way that could realistically compete. And with 2 years now of Dan Morgan, what is he looking for? He's looking for dogs. What is he looking for? Big, tall, strong, fast, guys with that mentality. You should start to look like it. Right? Even something as simple as drafting a wide receiver 8th overall. The wide receivers that have gotten open, the last 2 years, have had to get open in large part with wit and guile. Right? I don't think Adam Thielen at this point in his career is doing much of I'm just going to outrun this guy in front of me. What he is doing is, I see what defense they're running. I know where there's a soft spot in the defense. Right here is where they're going to be passing me off from zone to zone. This is where I can get open. Which is great, and it's talent, and it's useful, but occasionally you need a guy to be a guy. Teteroa McMillan has things he needs to work on as a young player. We talked about it in FanFest, right? The reports out of there pretty unanimously were he was having a hard time getting off press coverage, man press coverage. He needs to work on his release, needs to work on being physical. Fine, right? That's going to happen occasionally for a young player. You're going to have things you need to work on. There should also be moments where you're just looking at him going, oh, that guy's different, right? There should also be moments where you're looking at it and going, yeah, I don't know what the defense was supposed to do about that. I always, for some reason, every time I think of the stereotypical color commentator things, just things that are said in every game, I in my brain, it's the voice of Madden. It's always John Madden doing it. But I have like one of the things you hear every game is that was good defense, better offense, right? Or that was good offense, better defense. Where it's nobody made a mistake. It's just the other team made a physical play that was better. Right? It's my offensive coordinator for quarterbacks used to call it offense by accident. Right? Which is like you made a bad read, you threw it to a covered receiver, but you threw it so accurately that the defensive player that was in the right spot still couldn't make the catch and it got through to the receiver. Like that's offense by accident, he used to call it. Which he would say we shouldn't do, but part of you was like, "No, I got the gun, coach. I'm gonna fit it right into that little window across the middle." I want to see the Panthers look different physically than they have in the past. Guys like Jimmy Horn Jr., right? He might be 5'9", 170, 5'8", 175, whatever he officially is, but the reports are he's got speed that looks different on an NFL field. Right now, Xavier Legette was supposed to be that last year. It appears he was playing most of the year with an injury. There weren't a ton of moments last year where he was out there just running by dudes. Maybe he does that this year now that he's had the surgery and his foot is healthy. Like, I want to see some physically gifted individuals. I want to see Robert Hunt pull, right? And, like, I always think of Jason Kelce for this, where they slow it down and are like, look at Jason Kelce getting out into the open field. I want to see things you don't have to hide. Because I'm cool if Dave Canales doesn't want to call his super secret plays, right? The Waterboy Green Notebook. I'm cool if he doesn't want to show the goods. But you can call a basic play and have your players make great plays. And great plays, I don't even mean like it doesn't have to be an 80-yard touchdown. I just mean a play where you pop off tape. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see strides physically from a like size, speed, power of the roster. That's what I'm looking for this preseason. And reps. I think the starter should play a lot. Mostly because I think Bryce Young needs reps. And I don't want him out there with scrubs. So, like, if Bryce is out there, you got to be out there, Icky. If Bryce is out there, you got to be out there, Thielen. Like, sorry, but, if he needs the reps, you need to be providing them with him.
And overall, at least you're talking skill players, it's a young group. Like, it really is a young group because think 4 of your top 5 receivers are either first or second year players in the form of McMillan, Legette, Coker, and Horn Jr. Like you mentioned, Jatavius Sanders, just a second year player. Mitchell Evans is a rookie. I mean, those are your 1 and 2 at tight end right there as well. I mean, if Chuba Hubbard wants to sit, that's fine. That's totally okay by me. But ETN needs to get carries as well. Overall, the skill group is still a pretty young group. And like you said, they need as many reps as possible.
And if you're sitting Chuba, I am looking at Rico Dowdle and saying, if we don't trust Trevor Etienne in pass protection yet, like, you're playing a decent amount because got to protect Bryce.
Sure.
Got to protect Bryce. Got to protect Chuba also. Got to protect Bryce. Speaking of, just real quickly here, some Kyren Williams contract the updates. So Kyren Williams signed a 3-year, $33 million contract. I have the details right here. I don't know why I'm trying to.
The LA Rams?
I don't know why I'm trying to remember them by memory. 3 years, $33 million with $23 million guaranteed.
Okay.
Chuba Hubbard, 4 years, $33 million, 15 guaranteed, which he signed last season, midseason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see much of a difference in talent between Kyren and Chuba. Now, I'm not a fan of paying running backs kind of at all, really. Big money, unless you draft them and get those first 4 years of the deal included. But if the going rate for a Kyren Williams is 3 years, 33, and you get an extra year for the same amount, makes it hurt less that you paid Chuba. Because, I mean, the difference between Kyren Williams and Chuba Hubbard to me, Sean McVay. The difference is, he scores more touchdowns, and it's like, well, yeah, but also the offense is getting down there a lot more, and the threat of the pass has been Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp for him, and it hasn't been the same for Chuba. So, the running back market is making a weird bounce back.
And Williams has actually been banged up much more in his career than Chuba Hubbard has. He only played 12 games last year. Only played 12 games in 2021. Only 12 games in 2020. Only 4 games in 2019.
I assume more carries, so I don't know if like what the breakdown is there. I assume he's gotten a little more work, but yeah, I mean, what's the best ability?
Availability.
There it is. The best ability is availability. Gosh, I'm saying all the coaching cliches today.
I mean, he did play 16 games last year.
That's why he wanted to cash in.
316 carries. Chuba Hubbard last year for the Carolina Panthers had 250 attempts.
In less games.
And 1 less game.
Yeah.
So a lot less carries and 1 less game.
Kyron Williams, we'll call that the J.C. Horn.
Right.
You play one healthy season and come with your hand out. Like, see, I told you I could do it. Where's my money?
And like you said, though, a lot of touchdowns the last couple of years.
Yes. But like I said, better offense. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis Cox has something. He's waving his papers. He's got something he wants to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here for Loan Pronto. Folks, maybe you're struggling with high interest debt, or maybe you're maxed out on all your credit cards. You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. You can get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. One Loan Pronto client recently just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a massive turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Here's the thing about your home equity. It's yours. It belongs to you. So use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service, it's off the charts. Call now to get the conversation started. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Coming up next, the Ladder Challenge, where I learned the same lesson Dennis learned one day later, and Copper Drop. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
My favorite player in the NFL ever is Dan Marino, and I do not want Lamar Jackson to be the modern Dan Marino. I don't want his career and his accomplishments to feel incomplete because he doesn't have a ring. And I think that's why we put so much pressure on him, because we all acknowledge the greatness, and we don't want to see him fall short of completing the resume.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Open the lid on a carton of Bluebell Homemade in the Shade, and you'll have it made, so to speak. It's a combination of our top-selling homemade vanilla ice cream with a swirl of rich chocolate fudge sauce. Enjoy an instant classic.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream, now available at Wegmans.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis, when you were an athlete,
yes,
back in the day, actually maybe still with your hockey squad.
Oh yeah, got a championship game on Sunday.
Did you ever use smelling salts?
I have used smelling salts normally just playing hockey because they're really big in hockey culture.
Yep.
But yes, I've used smelling salts before, and they'll wake you up.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Even if you're already awake, they'll wake you up.
The Mike Garafolo, NFL Network, just tweeted out, 49ers George Kittle just crashed our set to break news that the NFL banned smelling salts and ammonia packets today. Kittle says he uses them every drive. And then the quote from Kittle is, I considered retirement. We're going to have to figure out a middle ground.
Why did they ban smelling salts?
No clue. I mean, you know everything about the ban that I know as of right now. But I do remember it was, like you said, it'll wake you up. And guys in college, at least, my offensive line, they woke up themselves up a few times a game with some smelling salts. And you knew which trainers had them, and you knew, hey, come over here. And they'd come over there and break you off some new smelling salts, and you'd get ready, and then you'd go out there wide-eyed and focused. And then after the game, especially after a win, you could sneak up behind somebody and throw it in their nose. Watch them go, wow, wow, wow. It was eyes watering. But
that's odd.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, and this happens, there's a fantasy football league. I'm not going to tell you about the fantasy team, but there's meetings that they call all the time, like off-season meetings, which are really just reasons for the group to get together, right, and hang out. But sometimes I think like they feel like they have to make a new rule every time they get together. So it's like if you're in the league long enough, the rules get more and more ridiculous because they've made them all, right? But they're like, all right, we got together, we got to vote on the new rules. Anyone have a proposal? And guys are just throwing stuff out there. Sometimes I think the NFL, similar to like the NCAA with March Madness, they just feel like we have all these committees. It's kind of pointless for us to have these committees if we're not changing things, if we're not making moves, if we're not voting on things. So they're, what about banning smelling salts? Aye. All right, done. See you next week for another meeting from the committee. I don't know, just make themselves feel worth it. But
that's so dumb.
That's according to George Kittle. That's the source.
That's dumb.
George Kittle does seem like a guy that would, like when he needs to mellow out, he'll take a couple smelling salts before bed. Let me just, all right. He's kind of a wild dude.
It's like anti-caffeine over here.
Yeah, there you go. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and jump into the ladder challenge. Now, I deserved this 100%. I don't believe in superstition. I don't believe in any of that kind of stuff, right? I don't believe in jinxes. If you did, you wouldn't be allowed to talk about anything on the radio because every time you're like, I think this team is good, and then they're not, you'd be like, that was my fault. But I do feel like this is karmic justice. 2 days ago, Dennis bet, 2 shows ago, Dennis bet on Clayton Kershaw to allow at least one earned run. And when that didn't hit, I was like, you never bet against greatness with Clayton Kershaw. He's a legend. And then I looked down at my sheet and realized that day my bet was Justin Verlander to allow at least one earned run versus Pittsburgh. And I lost.
He gave up one run, but it was unearned.
It was unearned. And
unearned.
I checked the score, and I saw it was in the first inning, one run given up, and I was like, boom, nailed it. Don't have to pay attention to that game anymore. Go in, check the sports app this morning. Didn't win. Very confused. Checked. It wasn't even like a real unearned run. Dude hits a single. He advances to second on an error. Then like 3 batters later, he scores. They call it unearned because he advanced a base on an error. So I don't agree with any of it, but I am back down to $10.
Okay.
I don't feel good about it. I feel like the universe is after me, even though I don't believe in that kind of stuff. And also, good outing, Justin. 1 run through 5. He's been struggling. So, there's not even an earned run. He needed that. So if I'm going to lose, at least Justin Verlander got back on track. That guy has nothing going for him. He really needed that.
Yeah.
He's not married to a supermodel or had made $400 million in his career.
Have a World
Cy
Series
Young,
ring.
MVP, World Series, a couple times. That guy, he needed a real pick-me-up. So
Yeah, he did.
Happy for you, Justin.
Which I was grateful that he had at least 3 strikeouts yesterday because that was my bet, Tim.
Yeah.
Which at minus 750 put me at $11.33. So thank you, Justin.
All right.
Did exactly what he needed to do yesterday.
You have the lead, so you get to go first.
So I'm actually going to go with Dean Kramer from Baltimore, the Orioles, the starting pitcher today against the Phillies. He strikes out a lot of guys, but he also gives up a lot of hits. So 4+ hits allowed by Kramer of the Baltimore Orioles, minus 650. So my 1133 will turn into 1307.
I'm rolling with another pitcher prop. I'm looking at Yu Darvish.
Okay.
3 or more strikeouts versus the Diamondbacks.
Who's he pitching for these days?
It was somewhere that I didn't expect. I'm going to tell you exactly why.
I know he's with Texas.
San Diego.
San Diego, okay.
The reason I picked this is just because I just want to tell this fun fact. I read an entire article. It was a very long article about a pitcher, Anraku, who's a pitcher from Japan that never made it in the bigs. Have you heard of something called a Koshien?
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, this is perfect. Yu Darvish pitched in it. In Japan, they have a high school baseball tournament called the Koshien.
Okay.
Koshien, which the ESPN article I read, which is from an archive. I don't even know how I got it, but this is like my new obsession. They call it as if the Olympics and the Super Bowl were mixed. People watch when this high school baseball tournament is going on. Over 50% of the TVs in Japan are watching this high school baseball tournament called the Koshien. It is 42 provinces. Each province gets to send their best high school baseball team. It is unreal. But to win, you win 5 games in 5 days. Okay? So it's kind of like NCAA basketball tournament that way. But do you know what the craziest part about it is? One pitcher, all 5 games. If you have a stud, you run them into the ground. Pitchers like the legends of the Koshien, in 5 days, throw like 780 pitches. 5 days, no rest. Hard, like top prospects, 17-year-olds, due for big money. Some of them have just ruined their arm in the Koshien. It is unbelievable. Yu Darvish, apparently his dad is not from, he's part of the, like, referenced in the article. Apparently his dad not from Japan. So he grew up in Japan, but he had a dad that had, beliefs in resting arms a little bit. So his dad would step in and not let him get overworked. In his Koshien, he threw 500 pitches in 5 days. With a dad going, I don't want him to throw too much. If we can average like 100 pitches in game a day, I think that would be okay.
That's insane.
Masahiro Tanaka had done it. Daisuke had done it. It's the whole article is about how Japan doesn't believe in rest. They believe in repetitions. It's crazy. They do something in training camp for like the higher level baseball teams in Japan called the 1,000 Fungo Bat Challenge, where one player, like every player does it, they try to take 1,000 grounders in one day consecutively. Because they say, like, the first 200, you're focusing left, right, hand. The next 200, you're tired. The next 200, apparently you reach some sort of, like, Zen status where you're out of body and your soul is learning how to play baseball. It is an unreal – I want to go over there and be a baseball coach in Japan just to figure out what some of this means.
It's like semi-pro. Run the puke play.
But I don't think I could realistically send a pitcher onto the mound for day 5 knowing he had already thrown 600 pitches in the last 4 days.
How does his arm not fall off?
One of them did. This guy, Anraku, he was going to be Strasburg. He was like the biggest baseball prospect in Japan probably since Daisuke Matsuzaka. And he threw 772 pitches in 5 days and never, lost some of the velocity and things. And it's crazy. I'm telling you. So Yu Darvish, because he only threw 500 pitches in 5 days, he's going to get me 3 strikeouts tonight against the Diamondbacks. Minus 650, turn my $10 into 1153. That's the ladder challenge. And that's my weird obsession the little wormholes I go down in the sports world. Now I'm going to be looking up Japanese baseball philosophies forever and ever. Let's get to Cop or Drop, shall we?
You want true enlightenment? Well, I'm dropping.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Cop or Drop. This is where Dennis throws everything he can at me, and I tell him whether we're copping or dropping. You'll catch on.
All right, Cop or Drop. Let's go a little Carolina Panthers since they have preseason game number 1 coming up this Friday. Cop or Drop. 2 Panthers players will have over 1,000 yards receiving this season. Cop or Drop.
I'm dropping. I jokingly, not even jokingly, it's a real observation. Have said that this preseason feels like every 4 or 5 days it's somebody else on the receiving corps' turn to be praised. Right, the first couple days of camp, it was Teteroa McMillan's unbelievable. All the highlight catches, all the one-handed catches. Then there was 4 or 5 days of Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is the best route runner in the history of the game. Dabo Swinney showed up just to speak myth to the Hunter Renfrow legend. Now we're kind of right in the thick of Jimmy Horn Jr. praise. I would assume next up is Xavier Legette. Then we'll get to Jalen Coker. But my point is, I don't know if there will be. I think Teteroa McMillan will be force-fed targets. I think Adam Thielen will get his. I don't know if that's 1,000 yards. Also, 1,000 yards is tough. Like, that's not. You can't really miss a month with a hamstring and realistically get to 1,000 yards if you're not one of the true studs. So I'm going 1. I think it'll be Teteroa McMillan unless he misses a large part of the season with injury. Then it'll be probably Thielen if he stays healthy and just keep going down. I also think they still want to run the ball. So, the volume won't be crazy for Bryce Young tossing it around.
Feels like Thielen's going to lead the team in receiving yards again. Just feels that way. It just does. Because, again, you're relying on a rookie to be a number 1 receiver, right? I know he's the 8th overall pick, but
rookies aren't what the rookies used to be. Rookies,
true.
Like, if you look at the last, 5, 6, 7, really going back to whatever, the Mike Evans, Odell Beckham Jr. rookie year, whatever year that was. Since then, rookies have not been eased in. It used to be like rookie receivers were like rookie tight ends now. Tight ends are seen like, you don't even know if a tight end's good till like year 4. That used to be receivers. But the last decade, that's changed where they're pretty good right from the jump. Malik Neighbors didn't need a lot of on-ramp, did he? Brian Thomas Jr. wasn't like, you know what, give me a year or 2 to figure this thing out. He was good from the jump. So, T-Mac being the 8th overall, that's kind of where expectations are.
So Thielen last year, 61.5 yards receiving per game. That would have been on pace over 17 games, 1,045 yards.
This is part of the reason why I'm inching closer and talking myself more and more into if you can get something good for Thielen, trading him away.
Yeah.
Partially because a lot of those targets that went to Thielen, I want those to be to Teteroa McMillan. And I feel like because Bryce and Thielen have such good rapport, it's going to be really hard to get Bryce in a panic situation not to go to Thielen as his safety blanket. And I want that to be Teteroa McMillan, so I kind of want to force it. But either way, what would you say he was on pace for? 1,045?
Yeah, 1,045.
At 34, 1,045, but you don't get there because of a few injuries. Now you're going to be 35. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if he gets there.
Okay, let's switch gears over here real quick to the Carolina Hurricanes. Cop or drop, the Canes will have 3 30-goal scorers this coming season. Cop or drop?
Copping. And I love that you're not making me choose. I am forever going to probably...
Okay, choose. Who is it going to be?
I cop. This is a cop or drop segment.
I know.
I'm giving you cops or drops. I'll give you the 3 though. You'll see what I'll give you. I think I'm forever going to be on the high end of Sebastian Aho over-unders. I'm always just... I know it's in there somewhere, and I want him to be a bit more selfish. I think he gets 30 goals. Seth Jarvis, I think, is the obvious, right? He's done it each of the last 2 years. And then, what? You need 1 out of Svech, Stankoven, Blake, Ehlers. There's a lot of different options there. But I think we're all hoping it's Ehlers. And then perhaps I'd say 1 out of Stankoven or Blake because I like the young guys getting more.
I'm hoping it's Svech as the 3rd guy.
I'd be fine. Hey, if you want to have 6 of them, I don't care. So it could be like Ehlers Jarvis fetch. But I think Aho and Jarvis. Yeah. My official answer is Aho Jarvis Ehlers. That top line is scoring up 115 goals. Jarvis is having 12 shorties.
You know, speaking of that, the NHL actually posted on social media yesterday clips of highlights of shorthanded goals this season. Who are the top shorthanded goals that were scored this past year? The Canes were featured on 3 of them, and they were all Seth Jarvis goals. He was the only player to get featured on more than one, and he gets 3 of them. And sure enough, the cover slide, hey, swipe to see the best shorthanded goals this year, was Seth Jarvis. This is the NHL putting this out.
I talk a lot about when a Steph Curry 3 is in the air, and you just know that nobody in the building is breathing right now. Everyone's just waiting to see if it goes in or not. When Seth Jarvis had a touch, he didn't even have to possess the puck. If he got his stick on it anywhere near center ice while shorthanded, it kind of felt like that, where it was oh, he's gonna do it. Just everybody tense. You grab your friend next to you, just hand to the chest, like a parent with a kid in the front seat where you're slamming on the brakes. The hand to the chest, extra seatbelt help. Seth Jarvis shorthanded is electric. Cop that. I don't know what the question was, but I copped Seth Jarvis shorthanded.
Okay. All right, cop or drop. Let's switch gears over here to college football. Cop or drop. Duke, State, and Carolina all finished with 8 wins or more this season. Cop or drop?
Drop. Somebody's going to disappoint. It's
who disappoints?
If you make me pick. I guess UNC. I also think the ceiling is high. I think right now UNC is the most boomer bust team kind of in the ACC. If what Bill Belichick is selling, if what Bill Belichick is implementing works, I mean, we know what it looks like when a Bill Belichick team, buys in and everything clicks. It's really good. But I don't know, right? So I would say super high ceiling, super low floor. For Dave Dorn and NC State, I think there's a certain floor that they have with their returning players. And Duke similarly. I think they have a little bit more returning continuity that gives them a floor that's a bit higher. I don't know if their floor is near 8, but it's closer to 8 than what UNC's is.
Okay, final one here. Let's go back to the Carolina Panthers. Cop or drop, Bryce Young accounts for 30 or more total touchdowns this season. Cop or drop?
Total touchdowns.
So talking passing, rushing, total touchdowns.
Receiving, returning.
Sure, why not?
30. You know what? I'm on the record a few different places predicting that Tedderell McMillan's going to score a bunch of touchdowns because he seems like a contested catch guy, doesn't need a lot of space to make his effectiveness show. And I'm on the record saying Jatavian Sanders is going to have a breakout. And it's hard to have 2 breakouts as pass catchers and not have a bunch of touchdowns thrown by the quarterback. So I'm boxed in here a bit. I'll cop it.
Okay.
I'll cop it. Although I do think it's it's the Saquon Barkley thing where Saquon could have 30 touchdowns, but if he gets tackled inside the 2 at all, then it becomes Jalen Hurts' touchdown because of the tush push. I do think, it doesn't make Bryce Young have a better or worse game if Xavier Legette's knee is down on the 6-inch line or if Xavier Legette gets in. But I think there's very little chance that touchdown would then be a passing touchdown, because then I think you go Chuba Hubbard and you run him right behind Robert Hunt and you say, hey, we're good. So if they miss, if they don't, if he ends up with 24, I think it's because then Chuba Hubbard probably had a really good year getting in the end zone, and I don't think Bryce is the type of guy to complain about that.
So if you look at the last 10 games of the year for Bryce Young, though, when he came back as the starter against Denver after the whole Andy Dalton wrist and the car accident thing, in those 10 games, he accounted for 15 passing touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns. You average that over a course of 17 games, you're looking at about 25 passing touchdowns and about 8 or so rushing TDs. So about 33, 34?
Dennis, I have some news for the Carolina Panthers.
Okay. Is it breaking?
No.
Oh, okay.
Guess who will be giving them their first preseason? Actually, you can cut the music, by the way.
Okay.
Guess who's going to be giving the Carolina Panthers their first preseason look?
Oh, Deontay Johnson?
Shedeur Sanders will start in the Browns preseason opener, according to Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait to be there on Friday.
Shedeur
Can't wait to be
Sanders
there for that.
will start the game, and the Panthers defense, which I believe, most of our conversations about Dave Canales saying the starters will play has been focused on the offense, but I believe the defensive starters will get a similar look, like a series or two at least. Which means a bulk of, if not all of their reps, the starting defense for the Panthers, will be going up against Shedeur Sanders.
And there's some good offensive linemen for Cleveland as well.
Like
Joel Bitonio, some of those guys.
Wyatt Teller has been, I think, an all-pro in the past. Some of those guys have, last year wasn't their best year, but their resumes are very impressive.
For sure.
Shedeur Sanders will start in the Browns preseason opener. So you can bank on, what is it about? Because was last year the year they played the Jets?
Yeah, they had a joint practice against the Jets, and then they had the home game against the Jets, yes.
They're what is it with just like whatever quarterback has the biggest circus around them is going to play against the Panthers in the preseason? Because Aaron Rodgers with the Jets was, 3-ring circus, and now Shedeur Sanders with the Browns. Shedeur Sanders on their unofficial depth chart they just put out was the 4th-string quarterback. Does that mean they're looking at Dylan Gabriel and going like, "You got it, you're good"?
Maybe. Hey, we got to rest this guy.
They just signed Snoop Huntley. They got 1 billion quarterbacks, and they're going with Shedeur Sanders to start it off.
That's funny.
Panthers.
It's probably the thing. They're probably like, you know what? Let's just get this out of the way. Let's just get it out of the way.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Just get it out of the way.
Get everybody their pictures. You know what? If the NFL weren't such a serious business where you had to really worry about yourself so much and not about just what would cause the most chaos, if I were the Panthers, I would let them light it up. Just to make it more difficult for the Browns. I would bite on every fake. I'd make him go 12 for 13 with 4 touchdowns and then go, try not to start him week 1 now.
Just have some fun with it.
It would never happen. But goodness gracious, can you imagine if they just sabotaged themselves in order to make the Browns into a true circus? Do it, Canales. Do it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. Talking of serious business, nothing to joke around with. How about the utilities in your house? Right? Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, none of those are anything you want to mess around with, right? It's not funny when it's 100 degrees outside and your air conditioning stops working. It's not funny when you flush the toilet and it gets backed up and then all of a sudden water's coming through your walls. It's not funny at all. Serious business. And that's when you're going to seriously wish you had Maynard Service Company's number saved in your phone. The number is 919-361-0993. I'll give it to you again in a second. The reason why you want to save that number is so when those serious things happen and you're flustered and you're upset and you're looking for where the automatic water shutoff is, or you are calling your friend to see if you can jump over there and cool off because your house is 1,000,000 degrees. When you're doing that, you don't want to also have to Google and try to figure it out and look for ratings and everything. You want the best locally owned 24/7 servicing the entire Triangle Service Company right there on speed dial. I don't know if people use speed dial anymore. I just have them all saved in my phone. You should do the same. The number is for Maynard Service Company. One more time, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or you can use Google if you want. You can just search online Maynard Services or use their URL, MaynardServices.com. We have a feedback frenzy. We'll hear from a bunch of you coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Get ready.
Concepcion touchdown, 13 yards. NC State leads North Carolina with 8:01 to play.
College football kicks off August 23rd.
Jones a first down and more. 10-5. They've tied the game. Bully ball by the Duke offense. Down the far sideline. Caught at the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Carolina.
On 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know, my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You've got to try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Oh, it's perfect, all right.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs.
Picking up! Oscar!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It's back, by the way. Second annual Numbers Game live show presented by Sharky's Place, Sports Bar and Grill. Takes place Thursday, August 21st. If you've had a perfect score, you've already been contacted, so this isn't news to you, but the people that have scored perfect scores in the Numbers Game over the last year will all be invited. They will congregate in Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs, and we will settle it as competitors do, with a competition on who knows jersey numbers the best. It is truly impressive. You can watch, even if you are not one of the perfect score contestants, you can still watch and join in on the action as we crown our champion live on YouTube. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe now, set up alerts so you don't miss anything. And then night of, jump in the comments. We do read a bunch of your comments live to the crowd. And if you're egging someone on or talking a little trash, that's A-okay as well. It is the second annual Numbers Game live show. I will be hosting, living out my fantasy of being a game show host. So if you want to join in on the fun, like I said, that comment section on YouTube will be electric. Special thanks to Onsite AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game Live. Again, it is August 21st. Congratulations to everybody that's been invited. Now let's jump into a feedback frenzy. This is where Dennis goes all over the internet, social medias, YouTube comments, it's everywhere you can think of, looking for the feedback you've given to the conversations we've had over the last week. He brings the best, the most insightful comments and questions and everything to the air, and we react. Dennis, what do you have?
All right, speaking of YouTube Live and comments from YouTube Live, this one comes from Rodney Lewis. During Copper Drop, Tim, I asked you, will the Canes have at least 3 30-plus goal scorers this season? Copper Drop, you said yes. Rodney Lewis says 4 30-goal scorers this season for the Carolina Hurricanes. Jarvis, Aho, Svetch, and Ehlers, all 30-plus goals this year.
I'm fine with that.
I mean, I don't hate that at all.
I wasn't asked for. Copper Drop is yes or no. So your answer to the Copper Drop is also Cop.
Yeah. But he says he predicts 4.
Why not 5? What do you have against Jackson Blake and Logan Stankoven?
I mean, I'm not going to hate it either.
Huh?
You got to think this Canes team only has 1 30-goal scorer coming back from last season. Just one. That's Seth Jarvis. Now, Aho did have 29. He's hit the 30-goal mark a few times. Svetch has hit 30 goals before in his career. Taylor Hall at different points in his past, has been a 30-goal scorer in his career, but that's been a long time since he last reached 30 goals. That was actually back in the year he won the Hart Trophy back in 2018.
Do you know what we also need to remember?
What's that?
Does the 2 extra games go into effect this year?
No, it's
okay. The next year.
Next year.
Never mind then. Take it all back.
Yeah. The 2 extra games. How's that going to influence stat keeping and records and all that?
I think we just act like it didn't happen. Same thing we do with like baseball records, 154 to 162, or football. They've added it like nobody. The asterisks go away over time. By the way, Ehlers on a per game basis got close. I think he was like 0.35, something like that per game, which if you would have put it times 82 is like 29 goals.
Yeah.
So he would have been close, right? You think he gets set up for a few more, playing alongside some monsters like perhaps Aho and Jarvis. I don't know. I'm fine with 4.
Yeah. That'd be a major step up from what we had last year. All right. Speaking of the Carolina Hurricanes, yesterday we had a conversation about the Carolina Hurricanes. Their defensive group not getting a lot of love nationally, not even ranked to the top 5 as a unit. This one comes from Dino Brovo. Dino says, let them underestimate us. It's better that way.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, right? Like we'll prove them wrong, motivation, that sort of thing. One of the reasons I like the temperament of the Canes, particularly the blue line, the defensemen, is I really don't think they care either way. Like, I don't think it's like they're disrespecting us, let's go prove them wrong, but I also don't think it, like, if they were number 1, they would rest on their laurels at all. Like, I think they're just like, all right, let's go do our job. There's very little.
Cool.
If I thought they were like if they were ready for this, if the blue line was filled with a bunch of Aaron Rodgerses, then because they draft Jordan Love and then he goes on a back-to-back MVP run, it's like it felt like the disrespect almost ignited him. Then I would be like, yeah, don't have him in the top 5. But I don't get that vibe at all from that particular group of Canes.
This one also comes from same video from Will Parks. Will says, at this point, we should be used to the disrespect. It's laughable to put some of those teams in front of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Say this again?
So Will Parks, along the same video, talking about the Carolina Hurricanes, again, the disrespect. He says, at this point, we should be used to the disrespect.
Oh.
And it's laughable it's laughable to put some of those teams that were listed as having a better defensive core, like the Washington Capitals, it's laughable to put some of those teams in front of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So what was the commenter's name?
Will
Park.
Yeah, Will Parks.
Because the other day we referenced the 1860 British Open champion.
Oh, really?
Name was Willie Park.
Oh, okay.
So that's what I was like, wait, where do I know that name? Okay. Yeah, but I get the whole, you shouldn't be surprised by disrespect. I also, I never want to be, just cool with people disrespecting you, right? Just because a lot of people do it. I have the energy to fight the good fight as long as we need to try to get respect for the team that we support. What else you got for us?
All right, so there's a lot of questions. Obviously, there's a lot of unknown with UNC football right now, just in terms of what to expect for this upcoming season. So a few people chimed in on the conversation we had yesterday about Bill Belichick starting his first training camp with the Tar Heels, and a few different comments. For example, Kevin Carter said, I'll keep my expectations low. Timothy Robertson says, solid season, UNC goes 8-4, then next year will be the breakout year. But this is the fun one. This one comes from R. Farrell. R. Farrell says, flipped recruits from The Ohio State University and Tennessee, ESPN on campus September 1st. I'm here for it. No idea how we're going to look, and I love the suspense. Good season in high school recruiting and portal recruiting should take off.
I believe both of those flips are for next year.
Yeah.
They're 2026 recruits. So it sounds like everybody is kind of on board, at least that, small sampling of the fan base, saying this year, who knows? Next year is where the expectations shoot through the roof, which I think is fair, right? But I also think, be willing to change those expectations based on how well this year goes or doesn't go. And even something as little as who's the quarterback, right? If it's Gio Lopez or Bryce Baker and they play well, then next year's expectations go up. If it's Max Johnson, who I believe has no more eligibility after this season, then you'll be breaking in a new quarterback again next year. So there's a bunch of little things that could influence it. But if everybody, they're at least selling the bill of goods. Tar Heels fans are. that they are being realistic with this year's expectations, if that is true, I give you a lot of credit. Because I think most fan bases, if you hire Bill Belichick, are letting the hype train get rolling downhill a little aggressively. If you're seriously going into this year with 6 wins it makes sense, 8 would be pretty good, anything beyond that is gravy, then credit to you for your self-control.
Okay, back on Friday, we had the Carolina Panthers play-by-play voice, Anish Shroff, on the show.
Yes, we did.
So when we were talking about wide receivers, you and Anish were talking about receivers. It was mentioned when Adam Thielen's name came up about his age, that he's 35 years old now. And EJ Smith 1000 on YouTube said, "I'm now convinced if Adam Thielen's name is mentioned, you're contractually obligated to mention his age or face a fine." Because that is a big conversation anytime you mention Thielen. He is 35 years old. He's older.
He's 2 years older than every wide receiver in the NFL.
That's true.
I'm not fined, but I'm not just going to let that pass through. So if you think I say it every time he's brought up, I probably do. And guess what? There are other wide receivers or other players with things that need to be mentioned every time you talk about them too. I'm sure if you listen to Indianapolis sports radio, they're not bringing up Jonathan Taylor as if he doesn't have an injury history.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you bring up, Jimmy Horn Jr., right? If you're talking about Jimmy Horn Jr. and you're just not mentioning that he's a smaller wide receiver, you're missing a big part of the story. Adam Thielen, this is not a joke, is 2 years older than everyone else in the NFL. And if you look at the guys that are close, for the most part, they're guys that are battling the stigma of age. Keenan Allen, right? He didn't even end up signing with the Chargers, even though everybody made it sound like he was going to a couple days ago. DeAndre Hopkins is kind of bouncing around and looking to catch on with a team as a depth piece. Robert Woods, is he with the Steelers?
Yeah, he is.
These are guys that are very obviously battling against the stigma of age, and they're 2 years younger than Adam Thielen. So, yeah, I'm going to mention Adam Thielen's age when he's brought up.
All right, final one here. This one comes from Dat Boy.
Who?
Dat Boy.
That one?
Yeah. Micah Parsons, question mark? Talking about Carolina Panthers? I know it's far-fetched, but what would it take?
What's the price?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not ever going to say I'm not interested in one of the best edge rushers in the league at that age, right? I could see if you're not interested in one that's 33 because you feel like your window isn't there yet. Micah Parsons, if the Cowboys put him on the market, if they make him available, 31 calls.
Oh, easily.
31 calls.
Easily.
Or 28 and 3 that think they're playing hard to get but really want him to call.
For sure.
Everybody is interested in Micah Parsons. So, Carolina Panthers, yeah, interested in Micah Parsons. The question becomes, what's the price and can you afford it? Because let's be real, the Panthers aren't one piece away. So if it's the next 3 or 4 first-round picks, or if it's Derek Brown and 2 firsts, if it's something crazy, you just can't because you have other holes on the roster you need to fix. If it's something realistic, the answer is yes. The issue is 31 teams, 31 suitors. That's a bidding war that can get pricey. If it's 2 first-round picks and middle-round picks, yeah, I'm in. I'm in. Quite quickly. Because I don't want them calling around and seeing if anyone else can beat that. But yeah, Micah Parsons. And then, by the way, speaking of all you say about Adam Thielen is I might sound like a broken record. I might sound like I'm blowing smoke or I believe the kids call it glazing. It may sound like I'm glazing Micah Parsons. I'm just objectively watching it, and he's that good. He's that physically gifted, and he's that productive. And I actually think he would do really well alongside some of the ginormous humans on the interior of the defensive line for the Panthers. But he would do well alongside any interior defensive lineman. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm not overhyping this either. Tim Donnelly here for Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. It may seem like I'm making something up, or it's too good to be true when I tell you that Miller Lending offers the no closing cost loan. Because others, meaning other mortgage lenders or brokers, they may advertise something like no closing costs, but then you realize they just took closing costs and named them finishing surcharge or another different kind of fee, right? They didn't actually, they rolled it up and doubled it and put it somewhere else. That's not what Miller Lending does, okay? Zero means zero at closing. It does not mean they call it a tax or a fee or a surcharge or a commission. No, zero closing costs. Gordon's been doing no closing cost loans since 1987. I don't think something like that has that kind of longevity if you're just trying to pull a fast one. If you are interested in getting a mortgage, you might need one, right? New house, upsize, downsize, move for a job, right? Timing isn't perfect, but life is telling you your timing to get a mortgage is right now. Call up Miller Lending and ask about their no closing cost loan. If you have any questions, if you think it's too good to be true, let them explain it to you. They can show you how it's not too good to be true. It's just true. The number to call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. Next up, here on The Drive, we have the starting five, including an update on a fan favorite injury status with the Carolina Panthers. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
A public service announcement on the dangers of hopium. Yes, hopium, a powerful substance before a season starts. Every NFL fan gets a taste, especially with the Carolina Panthers, where it seems continuity has created a side effect: the use of the word playoffs. One piece of advice: until they lead the division, just say no.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s. And less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Joining us on this episode are real Spectrum customers, Monique and Greg. We hear your family is a big fan of Spectrum.
Family of four, we have about 18 devices last time I counted.
2 teams require a lot of speed. Everything they do is online.
There's gaming, there's streaming. Spectrum is perfect for us. I mean, it just seamlessly connects all our devices with lightning speed.
Sounds like Spectrum is really committed to keeping you connected.
It's amazing.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. Some of us needed the umbrellas today. More of us will need them tomorrow. 66 the low tonight with some spotty rain. Showers and storms more likely for your Wednesday, the high 77. Still a chance for storms Thursday, the high at 81.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, down 62 points to 44,111.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tuesday, everybody, and 5 o'clock, which means it's time for the starting five at 5. Starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Young is under center. Here's the snap. Sanders up the middle, charging through the end zone. Touchdown, Carolina. The Panthers walk it off to end the season.
The Panthers have some injury news in training camp, including Hunter Renfrow. Fan favorite, right? Everybody likes a second chance. Everybody likes a reclamation project. He was out of the league last year dealing with an illness, and he's back, and he played well at the beginning of camp, and everybody was all in. He's now missed officially a week's worth of practice, including today, with a hamstring tweak. Here is Dave Canales with an injury update on Hunter Renfrow.
Just being where he's supposed to be, I think he's doing great. He's in return to play right now with our training department. He's running, he's cutting. I think it's just the load of practice that we're just trying to be smart on and making sure that we get him completely healthy so we can really see him in these games. And I feel really strongly that he's there, but I think it's more of a capacity thing. We just don't want to take him through a full day's work, throw him into team settings, and just forget about the fact that we had something come up. So but he's doing great right now.
So this is one of those, do you ever wonder why coaches are so tight-lipped with information about injuries? I don't think I would think anything of Hunter Renfrow missing a week with a hamstring if the very first time he missed a practice with a hamstring, they didn't pass along that he told them if we had a game today, I would play. Because that made it seem like, he's 98%, and if he had a game, he would play. So then every day that he wasn't playing, it's like, really? He said he could have played if he needed to last time. Now we're a week in, which, by the way, a week for a hamstring strain is nothing. You kind of start at 2 weeks with hammies and go from there. But because they said he could have played, now I'm I can't help these. They're not intrusive thoughts, but I can't help these thoughts. I guess just generic thoughts from hanging in my head of, is Hunter Renfrow really that comfortable with his spot on the roster? Because the way I've always kind of operated, or the way I've always observed in covering sports, is the guys that are on the end of a roster, the guys that are like, hey, I need to ball out here to make the roster. If they can play like it's a game day, they find a way to convince those trainers to let them play. Meanwhile, the guys that are like, oh no, I'm on the roster. I just need to worry about being ready for week 1. That's the way I can help the team the most. They are the ones that are a bit more casual in their returns from the boo-boos and the owies. So it's again, if they didn't say he could have played a week ago, I'd be going bummer, man. He's got to miss a week or two of camp, and geez. And I'd just now be kind of for the first time thinking maybe he'll be back. But they gave me that piece of information, so now I have all these thoughts that I can't control. What else is there in the injury world? Nick Scorton, also still out. Here's a combo update for Dave Canales on Hunter Renfrow and Nick Scorton, their second-round pick edge rusher, on when they're on track to come back.
Both guys turned around in about 2 or 3 days, but I think anytime you have a soft tissue injury, we're just really apprehensive to just throw them back out there without 5 to 7 days, of strengthening and really trying to get some of that high intensity exposure outside of a competitive environment, because you can control it. They can be thinking about it. When you go out there and you're just playing ball, and all of a sudden you just forget about whatever's happening. And so kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, I think it's important Nick Scorton gets out there when he can, but also, I've said this a bunch of times, he and Princely Umanmielen are very, I think they're going to be playing big roles early in the season. So, he kind of leans, even though I think it's important for him to get reps, kind of leans towards the just be ready week 1 and we'll figure it out from there, because that's what you can do to be best for the team.
Yeah, his spot's pretty secure, I'd say.
Somewhere in the rotation. I mean, you could argue, bumping up a spot in the rotation or down a spot in the rotation, but I don't think he's at risk of falling out of the rotation. I also don't see him being a starter, so it's kind of like he's locked into that second group. Derek Brown, not expected to participate in joint practices with the Browns, joint practice with the Browns tomorrow. He has a rib/oblique issue. I think this is more you want to trust your guys to protect your guys more than you trust someone else to protect your guys. Derek Brown's too important because he was practicing today, right? Or he's out there. He was in drills or whatever you want. Like, I don't know if he was in everything.
They were just in helmets today.
Like, I think that's just one where, and I was talking to Dennis about this. It has to be awful to be like a Pro Bowler during joint practices, because every single anybody on the opposing team thinks making a play against you could help them make the team, right? So you might be out there like, hey guys, let's play hard, let's be safe, let's look out for one another. Meanwhile, they're thinking, if I beat you, I'm going to make the team. I'm going to live my dream. Everybody's going to see. So you're just getting like an over-aggressive competition every single time from guys who might not even be on the roster week 1. So Derek Brown would have that kind of bullseye on his back for every offensive lineman and tight end cracking down and everything else on the Browns. And by the way, that's what they should be doing. They're trying to make the team go hard as long as it's legal. But I think it's sometimes smart to hold out your bigger stars in those events.
And they have a joint practice next week with the Houston Texans before their preseason game down there in Texas. So
you'll have other opportunities.
They'll have another opportunity
if you need
for sure.
to. But again, Derek Brown, I don't need to see you light up Houston in a joint practice. I need you week 1. That's number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Teddy Bridgewater signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Panther legend.
I do think he has gone in history. His reputation amongst Panther fans has gone up, right? Because he wasn't Cam Newton and everybody kind of ran him out of town. And then after the next handful of years, it's like, you know what? Teddy wasn't as bad as we didn't know what we had till it was gone.
Yeah, we had to suffer the Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield years.
Ironically, because they're both top 100 players in the NFL now.
Yeah, go figure.
But Teddy signed with the Bucs, which is one of my favorite pieces of information, because Teddy Bridgewater is like they used to have it. What was it? Was it in the back of Sports Illustrated or ESPN the magazine? This week's sign of the apocalypse, and it was just something in sports that made no sense and made you go like, oh, this society is messed over. Teddy Bridgewater left the NFL to become the head coach at his high school, Miami Northwestern, legendary high school. In his first year, they won the state championship. It turns out he had been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of his own money. This was not taxpayer money. This was not the dirty money of any kind. It was his own cash. He made like $60 million in the NFL, so he had it. And he spent hundreds of thousands of his own dollars helping the kids on his team. Things like making sure they got home safely with Ubers. Things like meals, so the whole team was eating well. Things like little gear so they could be proud and wear their team stuff around campus. Like, he was spending money to help his players. And as soon as the governing high school sports body in Florida found out, they just couldn't have that, because apparently it's against some kind of rules. So he was suspended. Some said he was banned from being the head coach of the high school. Because who in their right mind would want a former NFL player from the community trying to give back, spending his own money to help the kids around high school football? So since he was suspended, he said, fine, I'll go sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What a baller thing to do. All right, fine. If you're not going to let me help the kids, I'll go back to playing in the NFL. Force me to, why don't you? Sign with the Buccaneers. Go hang out with Baker. You guys find someone else that wants to help the kids as much as I do.
I just think it's kind of sad that you have to stop doing what you're doing in terms of coaching because you are honestly just feeding kids and making sure that they were taken care of, that they got home okay.
And by the way, I've said this when this news first broke, not the signing with the Buccaneers, but the suspension. I get if it's against the rules, right? If rules are there for a reason, I get it. But also, this is the move if you're the governing body. Hey, Teddy, can we have a meeting with you? When are you free? You free on Tuesday? Cool. Can we meet at the school? I want to talk to you. All right, Teddy. Here are the rules. Here are why the rules are the rules. Here's what you're doing. Let's work together to find a solution here on how you can continue to have the unbelievable positive impact you're going to have in the community and have it fall within our rules, right? Maybe instead of just cutting a check to the players, you're giving it to a booster club. Or maybe, like, work to make it work. Once you find the ones that are willing to sacrifice their time and money, make it work. Make it work. Do you know what's actually hilarious? Because I was thinking about this. We just reported last week. What's his Grimsley High School. Goodness gracious. What's his name? Faison Brandon.
Yes.
Connecting some dots. We don't know officially, but it appears as if, due to some reporting done by Brian Murphy, WRAL Sports, that he's making like $600,000 a year from a trading card company as a high school student athlete in NIL. Do you think Teddy could have just started a company and signed every kid on the team to an NIL deal for the exact amount of money that it costs for him to buy dinners and Ubers home for him? Would that have been okay? Because if that's the case, find the solution is what I'm saying. Because right now his solution is I'll go back to playing in the NFL, and those kids simply won't have an awesome mentor who has done everything they wanted to do, telling them the path. That is number 4. Let's get to number 3.
Print that. Tweet that.
Yeah, there you go, Dabo Sweeney. I got something that Dabo Sweeney wants to tweet. Dabo's getting a little froggy. Maybe he wants to leap. I have a quote here that Dabo gave to ESPN. Dabo Sweeney, head coach of Clemson. Dabo says, I've had one undefeated team. In 2018, we were the first 15-0 team in the history of major college football, ever. And I think we're going to be the first 16-0 team. It's a race to do that. End quote. Dabo Sweeney's calling for undefeated. Dennis, do you like the move?
Yeah, why not? I mean, let's be honest. If he has a team that can do it, this is the one. You have a, fifth-year quarterback in Cade Klubnik who's been there for however long. They have the most projected first-round picks of any team in the entire country, and you've been building your team from inside out in terms of most of your guys have been with your roster for multiple seasons. You don't have a lot of transfers. You're not like some schools that have 60-plus new guys on the roster that have to figure it out every year. No, Cade Klubnik's been your quarterback for 4 years now. This is the year to go do it. If not now, then when?
4 and a quarter. It was his rookie year was DJ Uyunglele.
Yeah, basically 4 years.
You hit on literally what I have in my notes, which is he's got to know his team. Because there are guys that if you do that, you're putting undue pressure on them and they'll crumble and it's, whoa, I didn't know. What are we doing, coach? And then there are guys that are like, all right, coach wrote the check. We got to go make it cash, right? And you have to know what type of dudes you have in your locker room. It's part of being a coach. And matter of fact, it's kind of, if there's something Dabo does better than other coaches, I don't think he's like the schematic, he's not the offensive guru. He's not Bill Belichick defensive mind of college, right? He's not in the nitty gritty of kind of the X's and O's. I do think he's more of a CEO, more of a motivator, more of a I read the room, I get guys on the same page and get them all rowing the boat in the same direction. So maybe he looked at his team and said, this is the number one way to motivate them. I'm going to go say we're going to go 16-0. Then I'm going to come into a team meeting and I'm going to say, guys, I just told the world we're going 16-0. I need y'all to have my back. But I will say this, and Dennis alluded to this as well. I don't think he makes that statement if he doesn't know something. Like, I think it should also put the ACC on notice a little bit of he thinks he's got one. And he knows what one looks like because he has had a 15-0 team. He has had some of the best teams in college football in the last, 2 decades. So if he's comfortable saying this, okay, all right. This one's not to play around with. That is number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us.
We've got some news from around the NFL. Starting with unofficial depth charts are unofficial for a reason, right? But we're getting a couple passed out. The Jacksonville Jaguars, put out their first unofficial depth chart. Travis Hunter, starting wide receiver, second string corner. Does that give us an indication for week 1 for the Panthers that the defense should be scouting Travis Hunter maybe a little bit more than the offense should be scouting going up against Travis Hunter?
Maybe.
Do you think maybe Jacksonville is saying we could throw the Panthers off the scent a little bit? Let's flip it around.
Why not?
I do think that is kind of a bad break that the Panthers are playing Jacksonville first. Because everybody after that is going to look at how Travis Hunter is used against the Panthers and prepare for, like, Travis Hunter physically, he is an unbelievable athlete. When watching film, I literally, and he would have been, if he was a full-time wide receiver, I think he would have been above Teteroa McMillan as just a wide receiver in my wide receiver rankings.
No doubt.
He's that good. So you do have to, like, he's a player you put on the scouting report and circle. You have to prepare for him. And you don't even know where he's, like, you don't know what he's going to be doing. So, I don't know. Unofficial depth chart probably means nothing, but maybe it's worth 5 minutes of conversation in the coach's room before the players walk in. Like, I don't know what this means, guys, but here it is. Do what you want to do with that, secondaries coach. And oh, by the way, don't forget about Brian Thomas Jr., De'Ami Brown, or ETN out of the backfield, or Tootin with the fastest 40 at all running backs at the combine. That's going to be a weird opening game for the Panthers. Kyren Williams, running back for the Rams, signed an extension earlier today. By the way, the old school football fans should like Kyren because he practiced all the way through getting the extension. There was a lot of talk about will he show up? Will he hold in? Right? He wants a new contract. Running backs only get one bite. He practiced through it all and never really even hinted at not practicing. And he gets 3 years, $33 million with $23 million guaranteed for his troubles. He essentially, for one less year of commitment, it's a very similar deal to what Chuba Hubbard got for 4 years. 4 years, $33 million for Chuba. Kyren Williams, 3 year, $33 million. Kyren gets another $8 million guaranteed based on initial reports, and you never know, like injury guarantee, guaranteed at signing, fully guaranteed, roster bonuses, it's all up in the air. But $23 million guaranteed for Kyren, $15 for Chuba. If we're being real, Kyren Williams has more production. I think part of that is the offense and the volume he's gotten in his career. Chuba Hubbard has had a billion offensive minds calling plays and designing offenses for him. Kyren Williams has had Sean McVay.
Has had one.
Has had Sean McVay.
This is the first year Chuba Hubbard's ever had the same offensive coordinator from one year to the next.
And not to mention the few times it's gone Frank Reich, Thomas Brown, and play calling. So that's still the same offensive coordinator, but kind of four play callers in the same year.
I mean, the Joe Brady experience. Yep. He also had the Ben McAdoo.
Yeah.
Then Steve Wilkes taking over. It's just all different kinds of stuff for him.
So if you just look at them as like talent, I think they're similar. And you got Chuba Hubbard for a decent amount less money, so I guess that's good business for the Carolina Panthers. I think they're both a little overpaid, but hey. And then lastly, we got Browns quarterback news. The Browns, first of all, signed Snoop Huntley. Pro Bowler, Snoop Huntley.
Yeah, Tyrone Huntley.
Was a Pro Bowler for playing like 3 games backing up Lamar Jackson a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was like the 15th alternate, I think.
I want to say he had thrown 5 touchdown passes that year.
Yeah, which is just wild to think about.
But he signed with the Browns because even though on their expected active roster, they have Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders, 2 draft picks, 2 veterans, one that they traded for, and one that's at the top of. So Flacco's at the top of their unofficial depth chart. They traded for Kenny Pickett. They drafted Dylan Gabriel, and then a couple rounds later drafted Shedeur Sanders. Now they've signed Huntley. So 5 quarterbacks. I don't know. The Browns.
Yeah, Pickett's dealing with the hamstring injury. Oh, and then there's Deshaun Watson, who's out with the Achilles injury this season.
You failed to mention Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So Huntley signed. They now have. They're playing like. They've got enough for a full basketball starting lineup and someone off the bench in the quarterback room. And then also, they've announced through Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network, Shedeur Sanders is going to be starting Friday in the preseason game against the Panthers, who on their unofficial depth chart is the 4th quarterback. Which I would guess that means Flacco. I thought they'd play Flacco because I think it's still a quarterback competition, but I could see them saying, he's darn near 41 years old. What are we going to learn about Joey Flax? He doesn't have to play.
Yeah, he's been there.
Kenny Pickett's hurt. I would have assumed Gabriel would get the start, but he's maybe dealing with something, injury, shoulder soreness, something as well, so they might be giving him the break. It could have been they had to start Shedeur Sanders, and they signed Huntley just to have someone else finish the game when Sanders is done. You know, there's this meme of it's like a joke amongst dads where somebody says, like, you know, gosh, I wish I had a charger for a Nokia cell phone from 1999 because I just found one and I want to charge it up. And you see the dad, like, his eyes light up because in the basement he has every charger he's ever lived and he's been told to get rid of them because they're just trash. And he's like, this is it. It worked. My junk drawer was finally worth it. I feel like the Browns are kind of doing that where it's like everybody told them 4 quarterbacks were too many. Everyone's like, what do you drafted 4, you trade, that's too many. Now 3 of them are hurt, and they're like, told you, my junk drawer of quarterbacks is necessary, everybody. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
Go 1!
What can we actually learn from preseason action for the Carolina Panthers? Can you confuse Shedeur Sanders would be something we could actually learn. I'll look at this because it's Quarterback Tuesday directly at the Bryce Young part of it. I don't know if it's a learn thing, but here's what I want to see from Bryce Young. Reps. I want him to play. I want him to play a lot. I want him to play till halftime. I want him to get 4 drives. I want him to score touchdowns, and I want him to go 3 and out. I want him to experience everything. I want him, and I was telling Dennis this earlier, I don't know if I'm overthinking things. Again, football is much more serious, like, internally than I think a lot of people would hope it is. It seems like grown men playing a child's game, but it's actually grown men strategically trying to take the will of their opponents. I would, like, fake a argument on the headset so he gets the play very late. I would, at times, act like the headset's going out. I would intentionally substitute late on offense. I want Bryce Young to experience every panic situation he can possibly experience in preseason. As many as I can think of. Right? I'm telling my tight end to line up on the wrong spot so he has to correct them. I'm planting booby traps to see if he either sniffs them out and fixes them or how he deals with them once those booby traps detonate. I'm not saying like every play is going to be a disaster. I'm just saying I want Bryce Young in every situation possible this preseason. So by the time the season comes around, he is so unbelievably confident in his ability, not just as a quarterback, but in what my offensive coordinator used to call a traffic cop. You need to be out there making sure everybody's going to the right spots. You need to be out there making sure no crashes are happening, right? You got to be the traffic cop out there. Call for a motion. If 2 guys goes in motion, we used to call it Mayday. Mayday, Mayday. That means everybody gets set for at least a second before we snap it. You can't be moving. Like, all of those things, you need to have it all figured out. All of it. And you can't do that playing one series and going to the bench. You can't do that only using scripted plays that you knew were coming before the game. So you got to get through the first 15, which are going to be scripted. I want you to see, it'll happen, and like the longer you play in the preseason, it'll happen. I want you to see a blown coverage and take advantage of it. Because speaking from experience, my first touchdown pass in college was a 100% blown coverage. Like, had no reason it was going to be open. And literally, I heard the crowd all go, ah! And I was like, why are they excited? This doesn't make any sense. Looked down, saw a receiver wide open, threw the touchdown. Like, you have to see it all before you can be comfortable playing against it all. I want Bryce Young in the game a lot. And that means enough starters around him to protect him, and I don't want him playing with third stringers. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do need to grab some numbers game contestants, but first, Dennis Cox, what do you have for the people?
Hey, Dennis Cox here from my good friends over at Law Tigers. Something to keep in mind, folks, if you're a motorcycle rider, is always make sure you're positioned yourself properly in the lane. Believe it or not, motorcycle riders shouldn't ride in the dead middle of the lane, because anytime you go to a stoplight or a stop sign, you ever notice all the oils and the fluids that are kind of just leaving splotches and marks in the middle of the lane? Well, you don't want to ride in the middle lane as a motorcycle rider, because your tires are going to be getting caught in those, or going to accumulate, or even anyway, the oils and stuff will get on your tires. Is essentially what I'm saying, to get to the nuts and bolts of it. So make sure that you are riding positioned with the tires of the vehicles in front of you and the vehicles around you. That way you don't have a potential accident, because oil and stuff causes your tires to either wear down or maybe even become slick, and you're leaning in a turn and all of a sudden your bike gives out. So make sure you're doing all the small things as a motorcycle rider to be safe. But keep in mind that accidents do happen, and this is where Law Tigers comes in. Give Law Tigers a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Again, the number 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, or if you need to, visit lawtigers.com. If you're in an accident, give them a call first, even before you contact the insurance company. Maybe you got injured in a motorcycle accident even a few months ago. Your insurance company just isn't doing everything that they're supposed to be doing as part of your case. Still give Law Tigers a call. Your case evaluation is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, needs numbers game contestants. Once again, just like yesterday, we have Jason Aldean tickets as the prize. A pair of tickets to see Jason Aldean at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on August 21st will go to whoever can win the numbers game. In order to win, you have to call in now. We need two contestants, 919-860-5326. Once again, that number, 919-860-5326. For your chance to play the numbers game and maybe win yourself some Jason Aldean tickets. Numbers game next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
My favorite player in the NFL ever is Dan Marino, and I do not want Lamar Jackson to be the modern Dan Marino. I don't want his career and his accomplishments to feel incomplete because he doesn't have a ring. And I think that's why we put so much pressure on him, because we all acknowledge the greatness, and we don't want to see him fall short of completing the resume.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance? With Newcomb & Company, your independent Trane dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
Stitches, itches, aches, and pains, strep and sinus, minor sprains, pink eye, earaches, fever, flu, virtual visits, physicals too. At WakeMed MyCare 365, we offer both walk-in primary care and urgent care. So find the MyCare location nearest you at wakemed.org. Walk right in, and for just about anything from asthma, rashes, and examinations to x-rays, labs, and vaccinations, make MyCare your care.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. Whoa. Hold on there. The contestants, I went to copy and paste the contestants' names and I put up some tweet about the Vikings. All right. The contestants are Micah in Morrisville. Let me try this again. And Malik in Raleigh. There we go. Now we're set up for the numbers game. Micah in Morrisville and Malik in Raleigh. They will be competing for Jason Aldean tickets. As always, I will ask the same question to both contestants. Dennis will be our judge. He'll pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. We'll start with Micah in Morrisville. Micah, are you there?
Yep.
All right. The question is, because it's a little drizzly, rainy outside, Panthers practice was pretty much a monsoon this morning. What is your rainy day comfort food? It's rainy outside. You're sitting by the window with the water trickling down. What food are you munching on?
Ooh. I feel like you can't go wrong with going to get Chick-fil-A and munching on Chick-fil-A while you watch the rain.
All right. Your answer is locked in.
What's the order?
Oh, never mind. We got a follow-up. What's the order?
It depends who's paying. If I'm paying, I got to get the cheapest number 2 spicy chicken sandwich. But if it's somebody else, I'm getting the deluxe probably.
All right. You roll with some high rollers. I see what's going on here. All right. Any more questions, Dennis? You good? All right. You're good. Let's go to Malik. Malik, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Same question to you. In honor of it being a little bit of a rainy day outside, some rainy practices going on. What is your rainy day comfort food? You're sitting inside. You got the window dripping water. What are you munching on? What's the food?
Okay, this might sound weird, but I love my mom's banana pudding, so I'm going to say banana pudding.
All right. I don't know why that sounds weird at all. Mom makes a good banana pudding. You eat a good banana pudding. Dennis, your options are Chick-fil-A, where the order is based on who's paying.
Yeah.
Or a nice homemade banana pudding.
Here's the thing: I am not a banana pudding fan. I'm just not my cup of tea. But you can't.
Why you gotta
go
insult
wrong.
his mom like that?
I'm saying you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with Mama's cooking as a comfort food. So I got to go Malik on this one.
All right, Malik.
Mama's cooking as comfort food is A1.
Malik's banana pudding earns the right to go first. Micah, don't worry, you'll have your chance. As you know, just stay on the line. Sit on hold for a second. Malik, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right, the categories are NFL players with early August birthdays, NFL players that were teammates at some point in their career with Deion Sanders, NBA players, Purdue's finest, all players that played college at Purdue, or are tried and true NHL Hurricanes only.
I'm going to go with the August birthdays in NFL.
All right, NFL players that were born in early August. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Edgerrin James, Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, Jesus. 81?
Incorrect. Kareem Hunt, Kansas City Chiefs.
22.
Incorrect. Edgerrin James, Indianapolis Colts.
85?
Incorrect. Kareem Hunt, Kansas City Chiefs.
What is number 25?
Incorrect. Edgerrin James, Indianapolis Colts.
87. I have no clue.
Incorrect. Kareem Hunt, Kansas City Chiefs.
20-something. 21.
Incorrect. Edgerrin James, Indianapolis Colts.
Horrible.
You were right that Kareem Hunt was 20-something. Matter of fact, we would have accepted 27 or 29. He's worn them both. So you were around it. You just never quite got there. Edgerrin James, I think you may have been thinking Reggie Wayne or Marvin Harrison, maybe someone else from that era. But Edgerrin James was the running back. He wore number 32. That is an offer. However, you still have a chance because of Mom's banana pudding. You went first, and whoever goes first wins a tie. So if there's a double offer, you are the winner. So stay on the line and see if you get lucky, okay? That means Mike in Morrisville is up. Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. You need at least one for the win. Are you ready to pick a category?
Yeah.
All right. The categories are NFL players that played with Deion Sanders at some point or another in their career, NBA players that played their college at Purdue, at least in part, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I'll I'll do the Canes one.
All right. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. And just so you know, I will say the team in this category, even though you know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, I'm good.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Sean Walker, Carolina Hurricanes.
26.
Correct. Martin Necas, Carolina Hurricanes.
88.
Correct. Clark Bishop, Carolina Hurricanes.
28.
Incorrect. Evgeny Kuznetsov, Carolina Hurricanes.
92.
Correct. Tim Wallace, Carolina Hurricanes.
13.
Incorrect. Clark Bishop, Carolina Hurricanes.
64.
Correct. Tim Wallace, Carolina Hurricanes.
32.
Incorrect. Tim Wallace, Carolina Hurricanes.
8.
Incorrect. Tim Wallace, Carolina Hurricanes.
9.
Incorrect. Tim Wallace, Carolina Hurricanes.
10.
Incorrect. Tim Wallace, Carolina Hurricanes.
14.
Incorrect. Tim Wallace, Carolina Hurricanes. 29. We were looking for 29. Would have taken you a long time to go one by one all the way up to 29. You got 4 out of 5, though. That is plenty for the win. Although for you, you call in enough. The Canes, 5 for 5 was the goal there, right? Unfortunately, you didn't get 5 for 5. But you did get enough for the tickets, so enjoy Jason Aldean.
Thank you.
All right, stay on the line. Dennis will grab the info he needs to get you your tickets. But a 4 for 5. If you listen to the show often enough, you know that that Micah does call in a decent amount, and he is one of our better competitors in the Canes category, which is why 4 out of 5 doesn't get the same excitement it might for another caller. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of the numbers game, it is back. The second annual numbers game live will be presented once again by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. And the numbers game live takes place Thursday, August 21st, where the players that have scored perfect scores, not 4 for 5s, you got to go 5 for 5. The players that have scored 5 for 5 over the last year will battle the clock and each other at the Hilton Raleigh North Hills, a fabulous hotel for all your needs. And they will compete until there is one ultimate numbers game champion. And just so you know, the invites have been sent out to those with the perfect score. But also, there is a auto qualifier, meaning the defending champ from last year is automatically invited. So they've been invited as well. So you might, assuming they show up, have the opportunity to, take down the champ. You want a shot at the belt. You can watch, even if you're not one of the top, one of the perfect score numbers game contestants, you can still watch and participate. Just join us on YouTube as we crown our champion live on 99.9 The Fans YouTube channel on a live stream. You can jump in the comments. You can have some commentary. You can laugh. You can make jokes, whatever you're looking for. You might just hear it brought up live on air. Special thanks to On-Site AV, a full-service event production company, for supplying the sights and sounds of Numbers Game Live, August 21st. Also, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. I talk often about Maynard Service Company because, well, quite frankly, I'm a fan of high-value products and great customer service and excellent repair work. And not just repair work, but also maintenance. When it comes to healing, well, maybe it'll feel like it's healing. I meant to say heating and cooling, but it became healing, which, I don't know if you've ever had your heating and cooling system acting up. When it gets fixed, especially quality fixed by a company like Maynard Service Company, it does feel like you're healing. But heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, all of it is covered by Maynard Service Company. And I don't know if I say this enough, but there is 24/7 service all across the triangle, which you don't think you need until it's 2 o'clock and something's going wrong, 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. and something's going wrong and you don't know who to call. Maynard Service Company is there, ready to come out there and basically help you out, right? Get you out of that jam. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, all of it. Local company. You see their trucks out and about. You see them at different philanthropic events. You see them out because they are a part of our community. Give them a call, 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or you can visit them online, MaynardServices.com. Once again, MaynardServices.com. When we come back, there is a position battle brewing with the Carolina Panthers on the offensive side of the ball. Stick around.
You've heard the perfect scores on air. we're bringing our champions to the stage. It's our second annual Numbers Game Live Show, presented by Sharky's Place Sports Bar and Grill. Perfect players will compete on August 21st at the fabulous Hilton Raleigh North Hills. Watch on YouTube as we crown a Numbers Game champ. Special thanks to On-Site AV, a full-service event production company, for lighting up Numbers Game Live.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both. Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Paul Eihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. The Sign and Save sales event is happening now at Clayton Homes and Oakwood Homes, but only through August 31st. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. Discover the comfort, the style, and the value of a Clayton-built home, crafted with North Carolina in mind. From modern floor plans to energy-saving upgrades and premium finishes, there's a home fitting your lifestyle and, of course, your budget. And with summer heating up, it's the perfect time to enjoy energy-smart features for year-round comfort and savings. Stop by, tour our fully furnished models, or visit manufacturedhomeoffers.com and browse limited-time deals. But don't wait. The Sign and Save sales event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Oh, Dennis, people have to remind me to do these things.
Yeah?
Yesterday, early in the show, we put up a poll.
We did.
About what everyone was looking forward to most, and we never paid off the results of the poll. So the question was simply, what season are you looking forward to most? And the options were NFL football, college football, NHL hockey, or college basketball.
Yes.
And that was in our YouTube live stream comments during the show yesterday. And I said, we'll revisit those results later. And then we didn't. So let's pay it off now. What were the answers?
So the results were overwhelmingly in favor of the NFL. That's 65%. About a quarter of the people said NHL. 25% of the people said the NHL, and the remainder said college football season. Believe it or not, no one actually voted college basketball, which is a little surprising.
Very surprised by that.
Yeah.
But also, that's, it's a ways. Like, I saw Duke's having an open practice today for basketball.
It's actually already going on right now.
And there were people lined up to go in, but it was also the last practice of summer. So, we're kind of going into a hiatus of college basketball. And I do think we are conditioned to, a sports calendar. We're kind of Pavlov's dogs in that way.
Yeah.
Where we don't start, craving college basketball until – we're in the football swing, and then our bodies and minds go time for basketball, and we get really, really into it.
I feel like January is the time we really started getting into college basketball.
Well, that's when the season's already kind of. But we don't even start asking for a Tuesday game until football's underway, and our body doesn't get ahead of itself, if that makes any sense. I don't want football season until the Canes are eliminated from the postseason. Then all of a sudden it's come on, football. But before that, you're not there yet. We're cyclical beasts of some kind. Probably goes back to, caveman times where, we don't want to hunt until it's warm. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Somehow the ferocity of our primal caveman ancestors leads me to go, I'm not ready for college basketball until I see a couple football games. I don't know how I made that connection, but we were there. We were there. There is, speaking of primal instincts, position battles. Kind of one of the last true, places where it's okay to be like, I'm going to destroy you in society, right? Now, obviously, team first, team always, don't want to hurt the guy. But if there's one spot in a starting lineup in the NFL, even if you're buddies with the guy, even if you are, bunk bed roommates in training camp with the guy, there is a certain ferocity to that relationship until that is settled. Because as awesome as it is just to be a professional athlete and as much of an accomplishment as it is, there ain't nobody out there in their backyard at 9 years old going, okay, this time you be Troy Aikman, you be Emmitt Smith, and I'll be the backup offensive tackle on the bench watching you guys play. That's not how we do it, right? You want to be the ones out there making the plays. So the Panthers have two guys who their dream for this season is likely to play, and they are battling it out where? The center position, which I think will probably have a few more eyeballs on it simply because there's not many other up for grabs on the offense. You could argue maybe the hierarchy of wide receiver is up for grabs. Maybe somebody can take something like an injury to Tommy Tremble and run with the job at tight end. Other than that, there's really very little to decide as far as the depth chart goes on the offense for the Panthers, except for there's this position battle at center where Austin Corbett and Cade Mays have been alternating by day who runs with the ones. And I talk is cheap in a lot of ways in the NFL, right? All these unofficial depth charts coming out. If it says or and they're trying to make it into a competition, but the reps aren't backing that up, I think that's just, window dressing. It's not real. It's for show. But if you're alternating days, reps, you're giving the number one reps to one guy on one practice and the next practice to the other guy, that's a real competition, right? I didn't think really the Colts had a quarterback competition going. I thought it was going to be Anthony Richardson, but they were going to have a quick leash with him and have Daniel Jones as the backup veteran that they feel like might be able to save jobs if it goes haywire. But now we've learned that Anthony Richardson's starting their first preseason game, and their second preseason game, they've said Daniel Jones is going to start, and that makes me go, oh wow, that's a real thing there. So if you went into this preseason thinking Austin Corbett was the starting center and Cade Mays was a guy who last year played a little bit and showed himself as a good NFL depth piece, and they might on paper be up for grabs, no, the actions, the reps they've given have said they are competing. Right? They're watching film. They're scoring grades in team period, trying to decide who's going to be their starting center. Austin Corbett spoke to the media, and he did talk about his relationship with Cade Mays, the one he's competing with, through their camp battle.
Very good relationship, and we understand it's for the betterment of the team, and we understand ultimately it's going to help us personally of being able to rotate in with multiple different groups with the defense as well, and so we're able to see a lot of different looks, different body types, different personnel when we're out there, and so we know that we're getting a lot of looks, and we just got to take advantage of that and build that communication with Bryce and Andy, and so it's been a really good camp so far.
The relationship between quarterback and center is important. So the days you're not running with the ones, I would still make sure before practice, after practice, as often as you can, you're in Bryce Young's ear, making sure you're building that relationship as much as you can. And from there, it's the chemistry thing. How many times have I said, and nobody's corrected me yet, that one of the ways I look at which offensive lines are going to perform best year to year is to look for the most starts together, right? Not just most starts total, right? Like this guy started the last 80 games with the Minnesota, and now he's traded to Jacksonville. I want to see how many starts the left tackle has next to the left guard, right? Because I think that matters a ton. So that kind of builds into the preseason thing of just getting reps in team and getting reps in preseason, and whenever the ones are out there, who's out there. So, It's on these guys to make sure that even though they're getting 50% of the reps with the ones, they're going to be prepared as if they're getting all of the reps with the ones, because we all have super high expectations for this offensive line, and it's not just to play like they played last year, it's to play better than they played last year. Right? Sometimes I think the Panthers the past few years have been bad, right? Sometimes I think on bad teams, we confuse playing better than the other units with playing really, really well. Right? I think for the Panthers' offensive line has been playing better than the other units on that offense. But that doesn't necessarily – they haven't been playing better than the best offensive line units in the league. They're really talented, meaning physically gifted, big, tall, strong, fast. They're really good run blockers. Haven't been getting it done in the pass blocking as much, which I don't think is always their fault. Sometimes it's a play calling. Sometimes it's a quarterback holding the ball thing. Sometimes it's a wide receivers aren't getting open, so the quarterback's holding the ball thing. But either way, they have to take their part in that accountability as well. So center making those play calls, it's a basically everything I just said, whether you understood it or not. And I understood I rambled there a little bit. Sometimes you got to reel it back in. All of that was to say this. It's an important position battle, okay? You better make it right, and you better be prepared to have depth at the offensive line, because injury is going to happen. You're probably going to need both. But whoever plays the majority of the center reps for the Panthers this season is going to have to be a part of an improved unit that is the best unit on the offense. So it is an important decision to get right. And unlike what I say about quarterback battles all the time, where it's like, name your guys, you can build the confidence, I do think you can center harder, right? I do think you like if there's a position battle, the instinct is to outwork, is to push harder, is to block more aggressively. I do think you can do that at center, right? So if there's a position battle that is iron sharpening iron, I think this is a position where you're getting the best of these guys because they're pushing each other. Right? I want to see these guys pull and have to go block in the second level. I want to see these guys have to double team and then split off the double team with the guard and go get somebody in the linebacker group. Like I want to see them do these things, and I want to see them do them with more effort and intensity than we've ever seen, because they want to be the starter week one.
Who would you go with? Corbett or Mays? If you had to pick one.
I will, but I want to give a caveat. It's so hard to know without knowing what they're asked to do on the offensive line, who's playing better, because the assignments are so intertwined. Like, sometimes it looks like a center missed his block, but it was the guard, right? And it just doesn't look that way. They're both around $3 million, although Austin Corbett's cap hit this year is a little higher. I guess if it's this close, you go Mays because he's younger and he can maybe be a part of the core. But I'm not 100% on either way. I don't think there's a bad answer. I don't think there's a bad answer we can identify from the outside. Who would you go with?
I go with Corbett.
Just because of experience?
I think, the experience, matters in my eyes. And I also think as well is that going with Corbett gives you, the way I view it, is a guy that just has simply more game experience up front. Because, again, he's been a starter in the NFL. Granted, he was a guard previously before becoming a center, but this guy has a lot more experience as a starting offensive lineman, and a darn good one as well. To me, I give it to Austin Corbett. If it's relatively even, I'm going to give it the advantage to Corbett early on.
I believe he was a starter on the Super Bowl Rams team.
He was.
And
he was previously with the Cleveland Browns as well.
3 years as a full-time starter. Like I said, there is that experience there, but again, this comes back to the other side of it, which is, like, if you have a bunch more experience, you have a Super Bowl ring, you're that guy, and you're somehow in a battle with a relatively unknown in Cade Mays, it's like, what are you not doing to take that job by the throat? Is I guess me giving a little bit of a hat tip to Dave Canales and the offensive line coach there, saying, like, Cade Mays must be showing you something pretty special to be in the mix with a guy like Corbett.
Let's not forget, the Panthers released Cade Mays last year.
By the way, they released a bunch of. They released Jalen Coker. I think they released Damani Richardson.
These guys were waived, but I'm talking that Mays had been on the roster for a few years, and they still waived him.
I mean,
it was on a practice squad somewhere else.
They could. I'm not knocking that at all. I'm just saying, what is he doing now to be in the mix? We're up against it here, so we got to get rolling. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9. The Fan will be back tomorrow at 3. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd greatly like to see you there. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
The Adam Gold Show.
So I hear Bill Belichick's non-committal about a starting quarterback for the TCU game.